Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the At the Inn podcast. I'm Matt here with Seb and Mike, as always. And
Good
we
morning.
took a couple weeks off there by accident. It was, Seb had some stuff going on at work. He couldn't make our Saturday. And then Mike had some stuff going on at the house and he couldn't make our Sunday. I had some stuff going on the following Friday night, which involved me getting home at 3:30 in the morning, thanks to a company-sponsored binge.
Wow.
And a good buddy I work with that serves up some really delicious Jack and Cokes, but let's just say Sebastian's liquor margin at work would not appreciate how he pours a Jack and Coke. And then Sunday it was a full Major League Baseball oops. The three of us standing in the outfield, we all watched the ball coming, and then we're staring at it on the ground going,
are you getting the ball or are you going to get it? Oh, I'm supposed to get it?
Uh-oh. Yeah, we had our 15-year anniversary at Sam's it was 2 Saturdays ago, so that was kind of a chaos day and hectic, and we brought the party. It was good times. I have been there personally for 13 years. Jesus Christ.
Oh, that's a scary thing to say now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's you know, the one thing I can say about my work is that we have a very long-serving staff, and the people that move away don't move away for long. They usually come back and ask to pick up shifts in the future.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it just means it's very well run. Not gonna lie.
Oh, absolutely. Pat yourself on the back there, son.
There we go. Yeah, but we're here.
We are. We're here.
We finally did it.
You know, and just full disclosure, it might be another couple of weeks, folks, because the Christmas season is really upon us, and we are busy as shit this year.
Yeah. So December, for me personally at work, December is easily by a landslide the busiest month of the year for us. We have basically 40 to 50 person parties every single day at work, and I work overtime a lot throughout December, so it's going to be difficult for me to stick to a proper schedule.
Sure.
Plus we all have family commitments as well too, right? So you know,
No,
exactly. Exactly.
Absolutely, we do. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, it's a little weird around here. You know, we got a couple that are, you know, living in different houses now, so organizing all that. And then just in addition to my family, not so much. My brother and I are not so close, so we don't really plan a whole lot of stuff around anything really. Maybe a couple times a year we'll have dinner or something with the group of the family. And
does your brother live in the Lower Mainland, or is he?
Yeah. He's actually not that far. He's a little closer to Seb than I am, but he's
2 blocks away.
Just kidding. So like 20-minute drive.
I'm just kidding.
Kind of deal.
You're not that far off. He's not.
Is he
North Langley? Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so he's around there, and then you know my dad is currently on his way back from England, I think.
Cool.
And then I'm not 100% sure if I think they're down here throughout the rest of Christmas, but I only got up to their Africa and UK trip, which sounds like a blast. And anybody that wants to hear about that can tune into Enforcing the Fundamentals with Doug Harding. We will be talking about that when I get him sat down and we're able to resume that. And then my mom is a pastor up in Williams Lake, so Christmas is a little hectic for her. She's
busy.
3 or 4 churches she takes care of in the Williams Lake 100-mile area.
Big birthday.
Now, would you go visit her at Williams for Christmas, or
no? Normally they would either go to her husband's family in Calgary or they would come down here, and they would alternate years. But since she got the churches up there handed to her, it's been very hard for her to get away because she's got to take care of it. When she was in Lillooet, it was a little easier because there was another pastor in the area that could come in, but because now she has multiple churches she deals with, a little harder. So, and we don't have winter tires, so technically we should not be driving on the roads.
Yeah, I don't recommend you driving up there without the proper tires on your car.
Yeah. And
so here's a question. Do you guys actually get winter tires?
I do.
Nope.
Yeah.
Well, you live in Kamloops. It's a bit.
Well, we have it's one car has all weathers, and then the primary's got winters and summers.
I have never ever gotten winter tires on any of my cars.
Well, I don't think where you live, you don't think you really need it, right?
I have a 4-wheel though too, right? Like all-wheel drive, so
Yep.
all seasons are pretty good for that.
Yeah,
It's
and
the
your climate too. Like eventually, we're gonna have the road's gonna be covered in ice for 3
Yeah.
months. It's coming. Like it hasn't
I
happened
mean,
yet,
it snows here for what, 6 days of the year, maybe.
right? Yeah.
Although we did
You're
have
supposed to
that.
get snowed on today, and so are we actually.
It's getting cold. We had that one year, I think it was like 6 years ago, where we had snow for 3 full months. Remember that? Like we had
That's
snow from December till February. It was
Oh my
crazy.
God, that's
It was
nuts.
like the first time I've ever experienced that. It was right around when I bought my Rogue. It was like 2017, so maybe
yeah,
6
I think
years
I can
ago.
remember. Yeah, well,
Um,
back checking.
no, like
You
it
don't-
was. It wasn't consistent, but it would snow and then it would turn to slush and go
All
away
right,
for
I'm
a
just gonna
while.
duck
and then
out
it would
for 1
snow
second.
again.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I
Yeah.
guarantee you it was like almost a solid 3 months full of snow.
I
remember it fully, buddy.
I promise you, I was driving all over the Lower Mainland for work. No, that no. It would come, it would go, and it would come back. Is how that went. It was a lot of stuff that
All
was
right.
just slush. But we can always look up the weather report and see which one of us drinks too much.
That's
Okay,
probably
it's
you.
me. It's me. But yeah, no, I had an outdoor job that was it was coming and it was going and it was slushy, which friggin' sucked. I can deal with snow. I can deal with rain. When the snow and the rain mix, I get mad. I hate the slush. It's gonna snow. Stay. Let's be consistent.
I'm under the belief that it's actually warmer when it's at like -4 than when it is at +4, just because all the wetness in the air is gone.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
who likes to walk outside and see clouds and gray and rain? When it starts snowing, it just everything whitens. It just looks so much more brighter and springier.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's that feels like temperature thing. It's like, oh, it's -4,
Yeah.
but with the wind chill, it feels like -409. Like, well, yeah, it
Yeah.
does. Absolute friggin' zero out here. But yeah, no, when the humidity kicks in, and it's the same thing for the heat. If you go to like an Arizona or a Vegas, it's a much different heat than if you fly into Miami. Miami, you walk out of that airport and it's kind of like that Stargate sensation is you can actually feel the humidity washing over your body.
Yeah.
There
it's
was
near the water, so it's going to be
actively,
wet, right?
yeah. I actively followed behind everybody on one vacation as they walked out of the Miami airport, and you could see the children's hair start to take to the humidity and rise a little
Yeah.
bit. It was weird. And then they all just freaked out because they realized that they were in the air conditioning. Because they were like, "Oh, it's so hot." They're taking off
Just
stuff, and
wait.
then they walked outside, and it's like, "How's that going for you?"
Yeah, I don't do well in those kind of climates. I run hot normally as a human being. I'm pretty sure I'm a werewolf because I'm just like always hot. So,
And you're a little fuzzy. Oh, by the way, I like that the mustache is down, but you got the chin going in there. So I
Well-
mean, that's a little better. You look a little less porn starry,
yeah.
a little less creepy uncle. That's cool.
What's funny is I shaved my mustache and I got like my hair buzzed in the same day, and I go into work, and everyone's like, "Hey, nice haircut. Hey, nice." Not a single person noticed that the mustache was gone. Everyone's like, "Oh, nice haircut, nice haircut." So maybe it wasn't that bad after all.
You know what? Hey, know your audience, I guess, right? So in the realm of manhood, I think one of the big things about manhood is facial hair.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you got,
but it's different now though, because
Yeah.
if you go back to like the 50, I think it's the 50s, like the 50s, 60s, 40s, 30s, clean shaven.
yeah, a lot of the time.
Like a gentleman is clean shaven. Look at the
That's what you
Yankees, for
see, yeah.
example.
Or it's very
Clean
neat.
shaven.
It's very well maintained. And that's, obviously we see a lot in like TV and movies is generally where we pick that stuff up. But I mean, even if you look at old photographs, you don't see a lot of the big bushy beards now. But I don't have a lot of coverage. as far as mine goes. Like I get
Yeah.
it through the mustache and the chin now. And for years I had the goatee going, not the Van Dyke like you have,
It's
which a lot of
actually a
people can.
beard. You just can't see it here because it's
Yeah,
light here and it comes in gray now. So it's
yeah.
like, I
So
don't know. You can,
for those of you that are
yeah.
listening to the audio and not watching us down the road here, he's sort of rubbing his cheeks, and that's really it. So the Van Dyke is the mustache and the chin beard, and then the goatee is actually just the chin beard, and that's what I was rocking for many years.
Common
And
misconception because a lot of people just call a Van Dyke a goatee, but
yes,
it's technically not. The goatee is just the chin part.
correct.
Yeah, because it's like a goat. So
Yeah,
a lot of people
and
don't
that's
know that
exactly
actually.
it.
So
And so and like mine just doesn't come in. As some days I'll let it go, and you can sort of see it sort of popping up here. Like if you look
yeah,
at past episodes, you see I got the chin beard going like this, and I actually I'm right on that 5 o'clock shadow of the Van Dyke, but the mustache, I can't stand the mustache. I can't do it. We talked about this a few weeks ago when you had yours going on, but I can't. It's just something about it being on my upper lip makes me absolutely insane. But I can't get the sides to come in, and I guess it is what it is. And shaving was when you're a kid, when you're in that puberty range, and you start, the hair starts popping up everywhere. It's like, oh man, I'm gonna get to shave. Yeah, guess what? Shaving fucking sucks.
Shaving blows.
Shaving sucks. I mean,
but the mustache is a classic sign of manhood.
mhm.
You know, it's like now you're a man, you can grow a mustache. I think now in today's society, it's just more scruff and facial hair. But like, well, there's our mascot right here on my chair.
And then Seb's own personal neck beard has shown up.
Yeah,
Um,
which is AK my cat. But
yeah. And what's this one's name, by the way? Just before we get off on the pet thing.
my cat Nyla.
Nyla.
Yeah,
Ooh,
Saf
last
doesn't
name
come in.
Rose.
It could be no.
Ah.
I almost named her Arya actually from Game
Okay.
of Thrones.
All right.
And then
Anyway, so
I don't know why.
back to the facial hair thing. Shaving fucking, like, I was so excited to shave for the first few times, and now I've been doing it. And here's the thing, and I know Mike can hear us, so this might set him off. He's clearly got a more important deal.
No, he's got issues that he's got to deal with, so it's all fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But we're trying to be entertaining here. We're making jokes. You don't. These days, it's
your facial
not
hair is a joke.
just your facial hair you have to take care of.
Okay.
I mean, if it's below the eyebrows, actually, and even including the eyebrows, a lot of times I don't. I can't be bothered with it. I like my vanity. There's a line. There's a line with my vanity. The eyebrows I'm not dealing with, but you got to take care of the facial hair, and then you got to deal with everything else under the chin too. Like,
yeah. So I am so happy that in today's society, scruff is in, and everyone like scruff is a good thing. I have very sensitive skin, so when I shave like under in the neck area, I often break out in like skin rashes and stuff.
Yep.
And I remember working on Fantastic Four, the second one, Rise of the Silver Surfer, and we had to be clean shaven every day for the film shoot because we were at a wedding and they wanted the wait staff to be clean shaven. If you showed up not being clean shaven, guess what? You're not working, or they give you a razor and go shave.
Yeah.
And have you tried shaving with a Bic $2 razor? It's not fun. So
No.
I have, but I had the lotion and all that. So and along the same lines, there's a line that I have to be aware of at work because of what we deal with, toxic substances, most specifically gases in my area. And other stuff just fumes off and you don't want to be breathing it. I need a proper seal on a mask. It's no different than a firefighter or a professional scuba diver. You have to have that tight seal on the mask or bad things will happen. This is about what I can get away with. Now it's right on the edge of where I'm comfortable. I mean, I will probably let this go until Sunday, but when I look at myself close in the mirror, I'm going to be upset because it's going to be patchy and gross along the sides.
Okay, so
but I got to have the tight seal.
What is your cycle for shaving? Like, how many days do you go before you shave?
Mine also doesn't grow that fast, so I'm like twice a week. That's what I try to wait till a
Oh,
Sunday.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, I shave like once a week.
Yeah.
Usually like on Saturday.
It depends on what I'm doing though. Like if I know we got something coming up,
We need to get commentary for the hairy Sasquatch there, Mike. Who
Yeah.
grows hair?
I've already
Who grows
shaved
hair
today.
just by
Can't you
thinking
tell?
about it?
Yeah, Mike's. And we've seen this. We've sat in Denny's with Mike for a long enough period of time after the bar where
You can
he
watch
was
the hair grow.
shaving walking into the bar, and he's got a 5 o'clock shadow 6 hours later walking out of Denny's.
Facts.
Yeah,
Facts.
it's funny because like my facial hair grows super fast. I should shave probably daily, but I don't. I haven't put a razor to my face in oh god, I don't even know. Excuse me. The last time I actually fully clean shaved myself, I just using the one for my hair. I just get that as close as I can lately because I'm like I don't give a shit. I'm like whatever. So I get a little bit of because when it gets like this, it's awfully white. So I try and get all the white off, and then we're good. But I used to shave Monday, Wednesday, and usually Friday or Saturday, like with the actual razor.
Okay.
And I'm like said, like I got like my neck gets all raw and stuff like that. But like I don't like I know there's lots of guys out there with lots of back hair and chest hair and shit. Like my arm hair ends at my elbows. Like I got nothing.
Yeah,
on my torso is a barren landscape of pale, pasty skin.
You're so lucky.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. You get a little bit of I got a little deal here, and that's it. There's nothing.
So you didn't inherit any of your father's Sasquatches.
My dad used to have. He'd have his t-shirt on, and it'd be like with hair. Like he'd have like this like afro coming out of his neck, and it was just he had hair everywhere. And I did thank God I did not inherit that.
And that was well before manscaping was a thing, right?
Oh yeah.
But so where's your guys' stance on manscaping? Like, do you shave your armpits? Do you shave your chest?
No.
Well, so I try to keep them both under control. Like I don't go straight down on the armpits. I'll put like the big guard on the razor and cut it down by half.
The way down.
The chest.
I've never shaved my armpits once. I don't need to. I don't have hardly any hair in there.
Yeah, I don't. Well, that's why I say you're lucky because you don't have to deal with this shit.
Right.
Like, I mean, I could tell you the last time I wet shaved is because we had a small problem at work that we knew we had to fix, and it took a couple of days to plan it properly. But the potential for it being a large problem meant everybody came into work clean shaven. I mean, there was only one guy that didn't. He's got a big ass beard, and quite frankly, he's gonna die one day if he doesn't sort his shit out.
I'm surprised that he's not forced to keep his face clean then.
That is exact that there's that's something that's a thing.
Yeah, because things will get caught in that beard. I don't know if
anybody's actually talked to him yet. And I know he knows about this show, but whether he listens or not, but I've heard conversations where it's like he's in the wrong section to be walking around with that, and sooner or later somebody's going to come through here that doesn't actually works in a different plant higher up the chain and go fuck no son, we have a driver with a big beard.
And then WorkSafe comes in saying, dude, like what the hell, man? He's putting, because now that beard is putting other people at risk too, because if shit flies, he's gonna die, and then you or somebody else is gonna be stuck having to save his ass, and then what? Like
we had this conversation in a large meeting after a fire drill or before anyway recently, where it's like well, this is how it happens if we actually have this sort of incident. This is fire this, and everybody's here and we take a head count and we're missing somebody's got to go out and find it. And then one of the guys went, well, who's that? And he pointed it, and the plant manager pointed at me and pointed it at him. And we know this. Adam's been there 20 years. We know he's going. I'm going because I've had some of the training, not all of it. And also, Adam's been my boy for longer than I've been working there. I know his wife. He's the one that was mixing the Jack. He was mixing the Jack and Cokes this weekend. We hang out. It's it's not even like work friends. It's like we're friends. I'm the one that has to look at his wife in the face at the funeral, and he has to look at mine.
Yeah.
So
is that your I'm going for it drink? When you're like, okay, this is a party, let's go.
No, that's Jack and Coke. I was at Adam's house and had a beer. That's how that worked.
Okay. See, mine is honestly, like, let's get at it. Is a rum and Coke, double rum and Coke, usually spiced rum. You're a beer guy, though, aren't you?
I'll pick a stronger beer, but I'm actually getting in shape. That's one of the things. I've started going back to the gym again. 4 months after we had that episode, feeling better, feeling sore. But I'll go for a strong beer, or I'll start mixing the vodka. Anyways, so back to the thing is, we knew this incident was coming up. I right down to the bone, shaved it all up because everything went fine. It went exactly according to plan. We missed. But if you know what's coming,
it's the what if, and the what if is death. Like, it's kind of
yes, it's death, and it's you have to go and somebody's got to come and get you, or you got to go get somebody else. Right? And then once a year, we have a company come in for a mask fitting. And if you show up and you got too much scruff on your face, he doesn't carry shaving cream. He carries the $2 Bics.
Hell yeah, well,
and
that'll feel good.
Go find running water and come back. And it's awful. Yeah. But it is what it is.
That's
now
the typical,
with the manscaping thing,
that's like the typical manly. I don't need to go to the doctor. I don't want to see the doctor. I don't need this. I got it. You know, I
Guilty.
don't. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like yeah. It's just it's this vulnerability thing that we can't. It's hard for us to shake because we've been growing up thinking if you're a man, this is the way you have to behave. Yeah.
And at this point, I'm watching our numbers dance here. So if you guys out there that are watching live, feel free to chime in the comments on whatever platform you're watching, and add your 2 cents to this. Get into the discussion with us. But I mean, as I was saying, I'll take care of if it's sticking out when I get out of the shower, I'm like, ooh, that's got to go. I don't have a cycle for it. The chest, I think I put like a number 2 guard on the razor and deal with that, because I mean, it's not really, it's just irritating when it gets to a certain. It's kind of like the mustache thing. I was talking about it. It just gets to a level where it's irritating.
Yes.
My wife doesn't like it when I go straight down to the skin on my chest. And quite frankly, since I fell out of the shape I was in about 10 years ago, it doesn't look as good. So, maybe it'll get back to it and she'll be on board. But also, again, sensitive skin. You guys see it every week on my face. FYI, sensitive skin. Sometimes if you wash with Head and Shoulders, the zinc helps. It's one of those things that I do find helps with my skin. I just got to watch what I'm eating. But then below the belt grooming, I've been on board with that for
long time,
25 years.
Hey, we all know the number one reason why guys groom in the nether regions.
That's not why I do it.
Bigger.
You want to know what got me? Is
bullshit.
The smell.
Bullshit.
Okay.
Oh no!
Okay, that's it. I'm out. It's over.
No, honestly, it was a friend of ours, Steve, about 25 years ago, was told something by a girl, and he was running it by the rest of us over a doob. It's like she said it in such a way that it made perfect sense. It's like, do you want to stick your face down there if it's a big cloud and you're more likely to floss? No.
Nasty.
And it retains smells better if it's. I'm like, oh,
yeah, sure. Yeah,
odor bad. Yeah. Like, flossing is good, not in that area.
Yeah.
Right. But don't take care of your teeth at the appropriate time.
It's easier to keep that area clean.
It's not attractive.
Junk sweat is something to behold.
I don't want to do that. And I've had a really good date that ended badly because that. I'm like, oh, that needs to be under control. And
although funny enough, some ladies I have talked to prefer hair on a guy. It makes them feel there's no right way or this is the way you should be, but some ladies are like, I want my man to have hair because it makes me feel like it's a man. So
again, I try to keep like a number 2 guard on the pelvic region, but
you don't want to snip anything down there, bud.
Well, I wish we had Manscaped as a sponsor right now. Because, get yourself a Manscaped Lawnmower 2.0. You can find that online.
Bro, they're at like the 5.0 now, I think.
Yeah, they are. But it's a whole deal. I really want one, but they're expensive. I don't know if anybody's like finished Christmas shopping for me yet, but I'm saying it really loud because I'm hoping my wife is awake, but I doubt it. But yeah, it's just take the, in the shower, get the razor out, deal with the twig and berries proper. And honestly, if she's flossing while she's putting in work, likelihood of a hair pulling out sucks. Like,
Oh, it makes it all part of the fun. A little pain to your ecstasy, man. Come on.
You know what? I've had some mishaps. Yeah,
well, it's 47% off the Ultra package for Manscaped.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. Is that on Amazon or is that on Manscaped?
That's manscaped.ca or ca.manscaped. So it's $185 for the grooming kit, which comes with like the lawnmower. Then there's like the nose hair trimmer and
nose hairs. Those are the fucking worst. Oh my God.
I just pluck those things.
Yeah.
If it starts tickling my upper lip, I just pluck it.
Hell yeah. I have a trimmer now because plucking, I always get ingrown hairs. It ends up getting and it's just that pain. Like I'm all for hurting a little bit, but Jesus Christ, that is the worst.
I had a girlfriend wax my chest once about 13 years ago. Ooh. And it looked like a worst case scenario 13-year-old boy puberty at like just ingrown hairs everywhere. And she asked an esthetician friend of hers about it. He's like, oh yeah, it was his first time getting waxed, right? So you got to keep it up or that'll happen, because what happens is hairs grow like an onion. So it's a little stalk up front that you pull it out of the ground, but you're pulling this big root ball out, this big onion ball out. And that's what causes the ingrown hairs and the clogged pores, is because you're now pulling this big thing out and it's not meant to come through that hole. But if you keep doing it, the root ball, the onion, but it doesn't have the chance to grow to a point where it won't just slide out nicely. And I'm like, oh, that makes
fair enough.
Actually perfect sense.
It does.
So that's why if you pluck a nose hair, it hurts the first couple times. You'll tear up. But if you consistently just get at that bad boy,
still hurts, man. Come on.
It still hurts, but you're not tearing up.
It hurts so
right?
Good.
So let's
get your eyebrows plucked, man.
Mike, you had an incident recently at the house where you got a bit of a surprise.
Well, what's it?
I think I've had this kind of surprise with cats.
Yes.
Tell us about your surprise. So tell us about how this went down, because we only briefly talked about it in the pre-show.
Yeah, so we have a dog. We have a 3-year-old Bernese Mountain Dog, and it was her birthday yesterday. So happy birthday, Nova!
Happy birthday, Nova!
And she's my buddy. She's like my third kid. She's the greatest. She's the greatest pet. She's a little noisy and chatty, but whatever. But
I do love those photos you do every year where you're picking her up. Frankly, your face gets a little redder every year when you do it, because you're under a little more.
I tried it. I tried that. I don't know. I think it was last year. She wouldn't even let me pick her up. Man, it's just too awkward now. But anyway, so there's been some light discussion about potentially getting another dog. And so we've been looking at rescue societies. We tried a rescue dog a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, before we got Nova. The pug had passed away right after Cooper's birthday in 2020. And then by summertime, we're like, yeah, we need another dog. So I'm going backwards here, but anyways.
That's fine.
So it's all part of the story. So we get this rescue. He was from Texas. Sweet dog, lived on the street. We got him. We had to drive to Merritt at like midnight to go get him. It was all it was weird. So we went to Merritt to go get him. It was good for the first week. And then his aggression towards my cats really started to come out. We were pretty sure that he ate cats for food on the street. Like he kills street cats. Ooh. And so you can't break the prey drive once that's sort of embedded. And he was like a year old. He was such a sweetheart though, when he was nice. But as soon as he got a whiff of our cats, he just stared at them and wanted to kill them. He chased one outside, one went up a tree, whole thing. And then he nipped Jolene, and because she was 9, he nipped Jolene in the leg, and he was really aggressive towards me. And at the time I had dog issues because I go run in my own neighborhood and dogs would eat me, and it hurt. And I didn't like dogs anymore. So we tried our best. We had him for 2 months. We rehomed him to a great guy, single guy, no kids, no cats, outdoorsy, whatever. Fantastic. We get pictures every Halloween of him still. Like it's been 3 years and he still sends us pictures on Halloween.
Cool.
Yeah. So fast forward, we get Nova. We got her. She was 7 weeks. She was too young, but we got her anyway, whatever. She's
Yeah, it's pretty
like,
young for a dog.
like she
7 weeks.
she fit in like the palm of my hand, like she was tiny. Anyways, so fast forward to like a couple months ago, we're talking. We're talking about pugs. I'm like, oh, let's get another pug. I want a pug. I'm like, I got this hankering to get a pug again. Why? I don't know. I had one for 15 years and she drove me absolutely bananas. Sweet dog, but she just drove me nuts. So we're looking at all these societies, and then the wife says, what about this guy? And he's got, I don't know what he is. He's a mutt. He's from Nunavut. He's a mutt. He's got whatever. He's not, I don't think he's
I
going
got
to
a buddy up in Nunavut.
I know you do. And so mom was rescued pregnant, and then the mom had her puppies in Pitt Meadows in July. So there's pictures. It was his name was Bush, but I called him Beardy Weirdy because he's got a beard. And
Get him from Manscaped.
There you go.
And so we start talking about it. I'm like, well, okay, we'll inquire. Let's get some history on mom and blah 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 blah. So we do all that. We do our due diligence. And we're okay. The plan is we're gonna go down to Pitt Meadows last Friday, and I'm like, so as closer we get, I'm like, oh, I don't really want to fucking do this. And so I'm like, nope, we're going. We're gonna make this a family decision when we meet the dog. Democratic Society, one vote each. And well, we clearly know how the voting went. I lost, but so we go down there, meet the dog.
Well, did you bring the kids with you? You did.
Yes,
right?
we did.
Yeah, that's your mistake. Well, you bring the kids to meet a puppy. What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, absolutely right. So he's 17 weeks now. So we got him at 16 weeks, and he's a sweetheart. He's not really house trained, so it's a lot of work. It's every half hour outside. It's that again, right? Which is fine. He's a little.
If you do it right, it doesn't take too long.
No, he's gotten so much better, and but it was the question of how is this dog going to gel with Nova, because Nova's 75, 80 pounds. She's not really aggressive that we've noticed, but she's, as we call her lovingly, she's a moron. Which it's to our.
Sometimes you get a dumb one. I've had a lot of cats. And sometimes you just get a dumb one.
The place we got her from wasn't very good, and we're pretty sure she's inbred. And but she's got so many. Anyway, she got so many redeeming qualities. She's just the biggest sweetheart. So that was my big thing: was how was my baby gonna react to, as I say, Sherry's dog. It's getting really, really good now. Like Nova likes to bark at him, and just as soon as I touch him, it's just like, dude, don't. And she just like goes bananas. Or anybody touches. We named him Burton because Cooper wanted to name him after Cliff Burton.
That's awesome.
So we were bouncing names around in the car in the moment after he's throwing up in my car, and the kids are like holding a bag in his mouth to catch the vomit, because I'm like, you vomit on my leather seats, you're a dead man. And all y'all are going to be walking home if this touches the seats. So no puke touch the seats.
Dad rules.
Right. But at the end of the day, I got to go back and track. When we're there, I said no. I'm like, no, I'm good. Let's go for lunch. I'm good. I want to go home. I don't. But then I looked at Cooper, and Cooper's got dog issues, kind of like I do. He's afraid of dogs. He doesn't gel with Nova all that much because he's
looking at you like this.
He's like, yeah, basically he gave me the puppy dog eyes. I'm like, fine, let's
lower
do
lip
this.
Quivering.
Yeah, I had the cash on hand. Let's do it.
And
so we did it.
Can't say no to your son, Mike.
Well, no, it's not. Oh, I believe me. I say no to him. It's the fact that
it's great that you got another dog, Mike. I think it's amazing.
I think it was because he does have these dog issues, and he's been bit before too. He's much like his father. He just gets himself into these unfortunate situations, and teeth come out, and it's ouch. And so I did it. I'd say doing it to be a good sport is kind of the wrong. I did it for the betterment of the family, whether it's something that
I want to pause you right there.
Sure.
That is the exact phrase I was hoping you were going to say, because is that not just part of being part of manhood in these days?
That's part of dad,
right?
Sacrifice, man.
It's
like, for the family.
It's like I've had that with some of the cats.
Yeah,
we've just had this. I've just been handed a kitten, and I've been like,
okay,
what? Oh, this lives here now. I'm like, what?
Man, I feel like
No?
cats just show up at your house randomly, anyways.
Yeah,
Like,
no, and then the
is this your
landlord
cat?
found
I'm
out
like, I
how
have
many
no
there
idea
were,
what cat
and
this
we
is, but it's in the house. So I guess it's ours.
yeah, well, I mean, we weren't supposed to have as many as we had, and we had to do something about it, which I
For
was
those of you that don't know, Matt has 16 cats.
no, the most I have had upwards of 12 before because
Oh
one was
my
an
God.
absolute it was a
I was
childhood thing.
kidding.
One was an absolute horror and was just dropping litters of kittens faster than we could get rid of them.
God.
You know, there's a
It
thing
was
that you
gross.
can like
Um,
do with the
However,
vet, which
the
makes
most
them
we've
not
had
be able to
yeah, most we've
have
had in
children.
this house is 5, and I wanted it cut down real bad,
Oh my
and then the
God.
landlord found out how many we had, and then I got what I wanted. So we got rid of the 2 that were actually a little too territorial. They've actually gone to the same places that the 2 children that moved out did. So, I mean, that's cool. They're all but yeah, so I get
So you
that.
got rid of them, but you
You
didn't
got
get rid of them. They're still connected somehow.
they left before the children did, and the children just anyways, that's a whole other story. Not to interrupt Mike, but that's the exact point I was really, really hoping you were going to make is you don't necessarily want it, but everybody else does.
Yep.
And you have to make this choice.
Yes.
And it's no longer that, 50 style society. And, clearly I wasn't alive in the 50s, but you hear the stories and all that. It's like, no, dad said this ain't happening, so this ain't happening. Where it's you just cave.
Well,
It's not even caving. It's
not caving.
It's actually a little closer to this. And for those of you watching, you'll be able to see this. But my dad kept griping, "I don't want a dog," and this is how I find him napping. And the small dog is napping on dad's face.
Absolutely.
So I mean, that's kind of how it goes. So I mean, let's get back on track here with Mike's story. Mike leans into being a man in 2023 and gets the dog.
So we get the dog, and obviously Sherry knows like I'm not super connected. I'm not like I like the dog, but I'm not like Nova's like a child to me, and this dog is he's growing on me slowly. Like when we got him home, we went to Pitt Meadow. We left at 8 a.m. drove through a snowstorm, which our rule is not to drive the Coquihalla in the snow. But clearly,
don't do that. I've been in a car with that before. Don't do it.
Clearly, that rule was broken. Made really good time getting down. I got down and just got into Pitt Meadows in just over 3 hours. But it helps having an all-wheel drive car, and I'm comfortable. I drive everywhere all the time, so whatever winter driving doesn't bother me. So we go meet the dog. He's really skittish. Fair enough. Because he was still with his mom and his 4 siblings. Like he'd never been away from them yet in his life. So he was skittish towards us, and then of course the googly eyes from the kid comes out and it's like, okay, well, and Sherry's like, well, it's okay. You can just put your foot down and say no. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'll say no now. And then you guys, and then the kids, well,
oh yeah, it's a miserable ride home.
It's a miserable ride home, and
in the snow,
at their weddings and at my funeral, they will talk about how dad, when I was 14, didn't let me have the fucking
one
dog.
thing I always ever wanted was this one dog. I'm like, you already have a dog,
right? So, and I'm like, no, it'll work out. It'll be fine. And I said, as long as like we're doing this as a group, all 4 of us are involved. And me and your mother aren't the only ones taking him out every half an hour. Picking up.
Why were you late getting onto the show, by the way?
Because he was taking the dog out.
Yes, which is
you're welcome.
Yeah,
Mike, I was 13 when I got Sheba, and all I ever wanted was a dog. So much did I want a dog. Who do you think took out the dog most of the time?
Your dad.
My parents.
Absolutely.
After promising, I will promise to take it out every day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So the first couple of days it was because I'm, I don't want him peeing in the house. So it's like 30 minutes clockwork. I'm like, okay, I'm looking at my watch. Okay, I'm stopping what I'm doing. Out I go. And then, or I'll check, go take the dog. And then the kids, no, the dog won't listen to me. He doesn't do anything. Comes in peace. Like, fuck.
Because they don't listen to you. Because they're like, who the fuck are you rolling in here talking to me like this?
The cave troll is downstairs doing his thing.
You go get the guy that does this, and you have him come back and tell me. So you got to keep doing it.
So he's on Fortnite then?
That or whatever he's playing. And then he's playing a lot of Diablo 4, actually. Hey. Anyways, we'll talk about that after too.
We'll talk about hobbies in a bit.
so like me and Sherry are both the point we can just open the door, and I was making Nova go down too, even though she could pee once a day, and she got the bladder the size of our heads, like it's fine.
Well,
And
I
I'm like,
mean, it's like stopping on a road trip, right? It's like, hey, we're stopping because this one's got to pee. So
I got
everybody else,
I got a story about that too.
I'm
in a
not
second.
getting
3.5
up in 10
minutes
minutes.
later, I gotta pee.
Yeah.
Oh my god, we just
Oh,
stopped.
fuck. When
Yeah.
the kids were young, it's like, okay, do you guys have to pee? No, we're good. Get back on the highway. I gotta pee. Fuck.
Here's your travel cup. Go in
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Pee your pants. I don't care. So where was I? Oh yeah, peeing. So yeah, we'll do it all. Well, the big team, the big team. So he doesn't listen to the kids very well. And Cooper comes in all frustrated, and fair enough, blah blah blah. And then me and Sherry go outside and it's like point down the stairs. Away he goes. Does his thing, goes back in. It's like, okay, we're getting it dialed in, and the dogs are, and he'd never been on a leash before until I took Monday off. So everybody went to school and work. I stayed home, and I took them. I've never walked two dogs before, and Nova's big, and he is not. He's 20 pounds. She's 80 or whatever.
How old was the puppy when you got him?
16 weeks.
16
He's 4.
weeks, okay.
He's 4 months old.
Okay.
But then it also brought back all these parallels with Lola, our pug. We got her at 4 months. She was a raging nightmare for 15 years. But we weren't parents. We weren't older. We were young and stupid. We didn't know what we were doing. It wasn't the dog. It was our fault. So I take them for a walk. Let's see how this goes, because he's never been on a leash. Let's collar on him. The deal. Within 5 minutes, they're walking side by side down the street. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, the puppy walks better than Nova does. Nova's chewing her leash, jumping around in circles and just being a complete moron. And I'm like, can you not? We're trying to teach young man here how to do this. Like, he's teaching her.
Yeah.
But I always make Nova go out with him just so he understands, oh, she has to go too. She goes down to the grass. She stares back at the stairs. He follows. He pees. They come upstairs. So I'm kind of using her as like
absolutely.
But anyway, so on the drive down, they're all like, we got to pee. We're almost passing Aldergrove. So let's stop at that rest area right before Aldergrove.
Yeah, it was nice seeing you, by the way.
Oh, dude, we were home in 8. Hey, I didn't see Seb either.
Just in your balls, man.
I already gave him a hard time about that.
I've already given you a hard time. Hey, I'm in Pitt Meadows. Look at my dog. Why don't you call me? Oh, sorry, man. So
you have to drive literally past both of our houses.
I know. We waved from the car. So anyways, we stopped at this rest stop, the Bradner one right before Aldergrove.
Yeah.
And I hadn't been in there in a couple of years.
Since you were single?
No. Oh God, no. that's a lifetime ago. So we stop in there, and you're driving in, and it's like fucking Thunderdome. Like, there was this huge.
Why is Tina Turner there?
No, but
wow, good.
Mel Gibson was.
Yeah.
But there was like this huge tented like dome, like it was like 30 feet high, and people living in it, and garbage everywhere, and dilapidated RVs with shit fucking everywhere. And we're like, we have to go pee here, and I'm like, well, it's either this or I don't know where. So let's get out of the car. And so we're like, I'm gonna make sure I lock my car, keep all my shit on me, and I'm like, I'm not leaving anything in the car, because like, who knows what riffraff's gonna come out. And
yeah, you're better to run out to the Watcom exit and use the A&W, the McDonald's for the Shell.
Yeah. Well, we learned a lesson, and the kids learned a lesson.
Yep.
Don't stop at rest areas anymore. But yeah, that's it was wild. And then Sherry's like, there was no soap in the bathroom. I'm like, nope, there wasn't. There was nothing. Absolutely.
Okay, now hold on here. Do you during our lockdown years, everybody had hand sanitizer? Do you still have hand sanitizer in the car?
I do.
We do.
I've never used it, but I still have.
Yeah. It's been sitting there. Probably it's been in the car
probably
since about
expired. I don't know, but
yeah, it's been in the car in the center console for like 2 years. And I forgot. Sherry's like, hey, we have this. I'm like, oh yeah.
Cool. I have something random to ask you guys, and Matt just triggered something for me. Do you know?
Is it a good one this time though?
Yeah. Do you know McDonald's is opening a new chain restaurant?
No. They can serve actual food.
It's called Cosmic, so it's COSMC, like Cosmic, and it's a focus on like coffee and smoothie drinks. So I just found this out yesterday, and you just triggered something.
So it's like an Orange Julius style thing.
It's kind of like I think
juice.
they're trying to amalgamate like a Starbucks and a Booster Juice together.
Yeah.
So they have like a lot of like Frappuccino style drinks and whatnot, and they have like interesting hash browns and breakfast foods as well. So,
cool.
But yeah, they're opening like 15 of them in like somewhere in the States as a test
wow.
market for them.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's a good idea. I think it's a great idea.
They want to get into the Starbucks / Booster Juice game, I guess. So
when you can charge $8 for a fucking latte, like why not?
Goes the cosmic step is viewed as a challenge to Starbucks and Dunkin's as a fast food giant seeks to boost afternoon sales.
Yeah.
The Cosmic Step sounds like a really good album from Pink Floyd.
That actually does sound like an album cover, Cosmic Step.
All right, Mike, real quick.
So anyways, go ahead.
Here.
Yeah. So this morning, I'm up first, the wife's a little bit sick, and okay, so the sleeping arrangements have changed temporarily too because of the dog, so when we brought him home, we were going to crate train him. That was the idea.
Mm-hmm.
He'd never been in a crate before, but that's okay. It's what we had, is what we're doing, is what it is. So we all go to bed. It's 11 o'clock. Crate's in the kitchen upstairs. And I got a thing with noise at night. If I'm tired, I can't handle any noise. Like, I'm like, fuck noise. I can't do this.
Right there with you, buddy.
So
that's a good question. Do you sleep in absolute silence or do you need white noise?
Well, that's funny though, because
I like dead silence.
Same. I want it to be like silent.
My best sleeps of the year are on the cruise ship, because last year it didn't happen because we had to switch rooms last minute. As we booked extra people on board, we took, instead of
hopefully not snoring
my
noises,
wife, we booked
snoring noises.
We booked for 4 more people, so we had to split cabins. Interior rooms are the shit. The mattress might not be great, but it is pitch black and it is dead quiet, and those are the best sleeps I have all year, even though they're only like 4 or 5 hours long, because I got shit to do. Those are busy cruises, but dead silence and pitch black. Sarah here, friend of the show, as always. Thanks for chiming in. She needs noise.
Yeah, I dated a girl once that could not sleep in silence, so she needed to have the window open to listen to like the road or rain, and it was very difficult to.
Okay, rainfall I don't mind
because it's consistent, right? Because it's a consistent
road noise. I can't do road noise. Like
so you're listening to like the rainfall, and then you can hear a car go room, and it's just like
you guys live a little closer to a road than I do. Seb, I've never actually been in your place. But
my place is freaking silent,
mine
man.
Recently, so I am really far set back.
Yeah,
you know what's weird? The sound travels.
You hear a cow moving.
I still hear the cars as if I was living. Because at one point I lived right off of Scott Road. Like my bedroom window was 50 feet from traffic.
Been there, done that.
I hear the road where I live now more than I hear Scott. I used to hear Scott Road, and that's partially as I live in an old house with bad windows, but. Yeah, it's weird because it's just this weird echo. There's just nothing. There's no buffer. It's all field, and the hedge line
just hears cats and heat all the time. That's about it.
No, not anymore. We got rid of that one. That was one of the ones that went. That one I nearly threw out to the coyotes were in the yard one night, and she was in heat, and I was like, oh, you might come out the other end. You're so small. You'll just.
Yep,
come up with a bath would be my luck. It'll be the X verse that the cat came back. But
so get him in the cage, lights out. It's we're all going to bed. Jolene went to bed a little before us, and blah blah blah. And then he hadn't barked yet. He hadn't needed to, and then he started barking and crying and yelping and clawing at the cage. And I put earplugs in. Because I'm like, I can earplugs. I put the hood up. I'm like, fuck it. I should have just wrapped my head in shrink wrap or something just to really make it tight. But it lasted about 15 minutes. And she was like, I can't do this. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. What are you going to do? Because Nova sleeps off and on in our bed. And there's no way a new animal is going to be allowed in our room. So she's like, I'll just take him downstairs tonight. Okay, fair enough. Okay, see you. Good night. So I kept my earplugs in. Side note. I don't like wearing earplugs to bed because all I can hear is the squealing in my fucking ears. It's even louder, so I can't.
Interesting.
Because my ears howl all the time. Like it's too much loud music, too much guitar. It's just me not. That's why I wore plugs at Iron Maiden.
Yeah, you did.
Right, because I have to now because the noise in my. This is gonna sound like I'm crazy, but the noise in my head is very loud. And I
just hear voices in your head.
No,
Do
I
they
hear
talk to
noise.
you?
I don't hear any voices.
Do they
I just hear just
understand?
like this,
Nice Randy Orton plug there.
like this high pitch. I
Respect.
hear like it's like a high pitched squeal all the time. Like it does. Like I can hear it right now when I'm not talking. Like it's
So
just there all the
I
time.
know technically you're not supposed to let your dog sleep in your bed. I mean, a lot of like
Fuck that.
trainers.
Fuck
Hold on.
that.
A lot of
I know
trainers
you.
say
I know you're
you're
not.
not supposed to because you have to keep the hierarchy of like blah blah
Yes.
blah blah blah. I will never have an animal in my life that I can't have them in my bed with me. Like
Right.
cats, dogs, whatever. I will always welcome them on my mattress. That's just the way I
Yeah,
am. I
I
don't
mean,
know why.
we
I
got
just because I love them so much. So
we got cats. 2 of them are fat as shit.
Hey, my cats are
But yeah,
fat as shit
they're
too.
my feet warmers. Although one likes being, and I'm not going to use the name I actually use for it because it's not something I should say on the air.
oh boy.
She likes being a safety rail. Right next to me, so it's really like it's hard to get out of bed when you live in a drafty house and it's cold in the morning, as we discussed when we
Yes,
were trying to figure
right.
out if we were doing this or not. But my wife sleeps hot. The cat's on the other side of the bed. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. I got to get up, and the cat's like, "If you think I'm moving for you, you are ridiculous." And then I'm like, "You're like a 30-pound cat. Like get." And I'm just like, do I want to move you? Like,
And
am
then
I
it swats at
this
you.
physically able in the morning, or am I just going to play games on my phone for 20 minutes and then race through the house trying to be late for work?
Marvel Snap,
Sarah says
baby.
Mike may need an ENT if you hadn't had that looked at. I don't know what an ENT is, but
Ear,
I'm
nose,
sure since
ear,
she's listening, she's about to type it out for us.
ear, nose, and throat, Doctor Matt. Come on.
Oh, there you go.
I read that as an ent from Lord of the Rings. So
It is not Treebeard. We do not need Treebeard looking at my head.
You know what? I can just run down the street to Toy Traders and find out who made theirs, and we'll just it'll be a great
done.
Legitimately the
You
only
take the
perfect
branch, you can
present
like
ever
push it
because
right through my
tree,
head.
you just decorate Groot or Treebeard for Christmas.
Done.
You're done. You're
Done.
good.
yeah, Lord of the Rings, the only perfect trilogy ever made. Discuss.
It just to Sarah's
you're
point,
fucking wrong, but okay.
To Sarah's point, my ears have been a mess my whole life, so it's just part of the deal.
What's that?
What? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
And fell right into it.
Yeah. So yeah,
Send Little Cricket in there to check it out. If you haven't seen Gen V, I highly recommend that. It is the spin-off, the side project parallel to The Boys. Really good. Sat down and hammered through all that with Sarah a few weeks ago.
They did that in one of the Star Trek movies. They put the truth bug in your head and across Chekhov's head. I can't remember what movie that was. Two.
Yeah,
I think it might have been the Wrath of Khan, actually.
The Wreath of Khan?
The Wreath of Khan.
Yeah, I saw that picture the other day. It was just Ricardo Montalban in a Christmas wreath, and there was no caption. And I went, "What is?" Oh, brilliant! Absolutely loved it.
To cap off the dog story, he's settling in good. I'm settling down. I don't like my schedule to be upset. I'm very
Me either.
Right. So, and he's kind of
man of structure.
Well, it's just we have our routines of how we do things, right? Because in full disclosure, like Sherry gets up before I do. She does her thing and doing her deal in the bedroom. I'm in the bed with the dog until like 6:30 in the morning. No, nothing like that. And I just lay there and chill with the dog, right? Or Jolene would come in and lay there too. We'd hang out with the dog, but now it's like as soon as her alarm goes off, I set my alarm for when hers goes off because she needs to do her stuff to get ready. And now I hang out with dogs at 10 to 6 in the morning until the kids get up, and then I go and I still make Cooper breakfast because apparently I can toast a bagel better than he can. So I still make my son breakfast, which is fine because he still needs me and I love it. Jolene,
okay, fair enough. I mean, I you know what, and that's we'll get into that later. Let's put a pin in that. Keep going.
But no, Mr. Doggy, he's selling. We're going to get our Christmas tree today. We go out in the bush, cut it down, so it'll be interesting because he's got
the Griswold route. Hey,
thank you.
We have for the last 6-7 years. We can drive 15 minutes up the road. And
dude, it's funny. I was over at my sister's place, and they always go get a Christmas tree, like a real one. They go find one, and their living room goes up to the second floor, so it's like a really tall living room. So I go in there, And I look at the Christmas tree, and it's a big Christmas tree. I'm like, why is your Christmas tree so small? And Rich looks at me like, my sister looked at Rich. I'm like, I told you it was small. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, they could probably fit a 20-foot
They
tree.
get a
in that
bigger
living room.
tree every year, man. It's
Oh my
ridiculous.
God.
They need a ladder now, like to dress the top half
That's
of it. It's
amazing.
hilarious.
Oh yeah, so
So-
we're gonna go get our tree today, and we'll see
Nice.
because he's got no recall skills whatsoever. He kind of does, like he's very food driven. So
he's still a puppy, right?
If he runs away, I don't know. So
It's not like a Jack Russell where you're going to chase it for 5 days.
no, he's not really a runner. He hasn't really. But what was I was going to say something, but it does. Yeah, we've gotten about 7-8 years now. We've gone out and cut trees down. It's
That's
just like a
rad.
family tradition. We just go out. The in-laws come too. We just go out and we just hike around. And this year there's no snow. Last year it was cold as shit, and there was a fair amount of snow on the ground. It's cold. It's supposed to snow, but the ground is uncovered as of right now, and it's just fun. We take some hot chocolate, make a whole deal out of it, right?
Yeah. See, I lived in Kamloops as a kid for 3 years, grade 4, grade 5, and
So winters are wintry,
and it's winters. So we did 3 Christmases up there. One Christmas the family came to us, and then the other 2 we did that snowy drive down the Coke. It was brutal, but it's bitter cold up there. And what amazes me is Kamloops it's not like down here where the trees are growing readily, right? Like you have to, and you live kind of on the outskirts. I think are you on the north side?
I am on, kind of, but I'm removed from the city. Like we're north of the city up Highway 5.
I vaguely recall the area as having driven through it before, but it was not one of those. I don't even think it was a neighborhood when I lived up there, to be honest with you.
There wasn't much here. Like there's like
I was there when the Olympic torch for Calgary ran through it. So
wow.
That'll tell you. So yeah, it's not like you can just go, oh, well, I mean, there's a bunch of, pine and spruce and evergreen over here. Let's go. You gotta know. You gotta go do it. And that sounds pretty rad to me. We used a box tree around here, mostly because nobody has the time or the inclination to keep the tree watered properly, and the cats are dicks and will just drink it. I know that for years
water's yummy.
Yeah. Well, for years we would do the real tree when I was in my late teens and early 20s at my parents' house. Would do the real tree, and then the Great Dane would go, oh cool, extra water ball. And we lived in a townhouse, so I mean our tree catches fire, everybody's homeless. And that reminds me, going back to letting them sleep on the bed, until you've had a 200-pound Great Dane try to snuggle up to you on your bed, don't talk to me about the dog sleeping on your bed, because
Mike's got a Burmese mountain dog, so
I complained about the 30-pound, 25-pound cat as a safety rail the other day, or like minutes ago. The 200-pound Dane, you ain't moving. If he's decided that you're spending the day in bed, you're spending the day in bed.
Well, Nova, she sleeps on me, like basically, like I'll lay on my side and she's like just basically laying on one of my legs and I can't move, and I'm on the very edge of the bed, and if she lets go, I'll just fall off because she's like the counterweight to me.
Oh man. And then if you make them get off, the sheer look of absolute devastation and sadness in their eyes when they
it's like, what are you doing?
It's like you just killed a puppy in front of their eyes or something. They're like, wow, could you? I love you so much. How could you?
I just gotta make cat. I gotta duck out for a second.
Has mastered it. So Mike's dog and one of my cats have the same name, and if you look sideways, or she has to sleep 6 inches away from where she normally sleeps, you just get the worst looks. Like, I got my fat ass up on the bed and you're not even petting me. I came all the way up here to love you, and I'm in my spot and you're not petting me. And it's like, no, I'm reading. I have a book in my hands. Fuck off.
See, my 2 cats are super systematic in terms of where they sleep. So they have exactly the same spots that they sleep usually in each room. So, Nyla sleeps on the pillow beside me. Saf sleeps at the foot of the bed, and I get a small corner.
Yeah, right. That's exactly how that works. So let's move on from the pet talk for a little bit. we three have had very different experience with children.
Yes.
I spent
I
many
have
years.
0, Mike has 2, and you have
Well,
14.
no, and see that's what. No, this is what I mean is you're an uncle, so
Yeah.
it's not like you have zero experience. I mean, you're an uncle, so you have that, and I know you want kids. It's just you haven't found that one that is worthy of your prodigy
Seed.
seed, or you just have terrible aim,
Yeah.
or they've just decided, oh. No, I'm gonna keep this one a secret, and you're in for a hell of a
I
surprise at a birthday
probably
party.
have one somewhere in the world I just don't know about.
Just out there slanging yogurt. So, and we'll get to Mike when he's done dealing with his issue here. Which, if you're listening, he's on the phone. He's
The work call,
run to
so
the bathroom.
it's a work call.
And that's how that sounds. Apparently, I say things and I insinuate that people might be either dealing with a digestional issue or whores. So I have to watch that. Anyways, so I was very I never really thought I would A have them or B be good with kids. But what happened for me was when my youngest daughter, who is now 18, was almost 2, her mom and I had split up the month. Well, we had been struggling trying to repair things for about 5 months. And it didn't take. Certain things that we both wanted weren't met. And when a big one on my end, actually it was 2 big ones on my end, came back up, I went no. And she said, "Fine, move out." And was shocked when I had a place inside of a week.
You're like, okay.
I immediately went and I looked at one. I had just been promoted. I was promoted up such a level that my paycheck more than doubled.
Oh, that's
And
great.
so I went and I looked at a place, and it was one of those things where the landlady kind of looked at me like, "You look really familiar." And her son had been outside playing street hockey. I'm like, "Well, does your son play more in street hockey?" "No, he plays ice hockey." He's like, "Doug Harding." She goes, "Oh, that's it." And she's like, "Oh, you're Doug's kid. You have the place." Right. So it was one of the times being my dad's son worked out for me, even though I'm never at the rink. So literally, I couldn't because it was a holiday. 6 days before, like on the 2nd of the month, I moved out.
So
and
that
from
all
that
just
point
happened like
on,
right
for the next,
But you were mentally done
6
though with the relationship prior to that point,
honestly,
right?
I was really, really trying hard. It was 2 big things on her end that crossed the line for me, and there was a sticking point on my end that she didn't appreciate either. There was a financial thing, and there was as it turned out, not just me being suspicious of somebody. It was actually a thing that got confirmed for me about 2 weeks after I'd moved out. Anywho, and then on her end, I was unwilling to leave the job. I just got promoted to move to a small town so she could pursue her career. And I was like, I just tripled our income.
Yeah, that's a tough situation though, right? It's just like
and so it wasn't as much as I'd like to say with all her. Anyways, it doesn't matter because I mean she's dealing with her own stuff now, and I hope we've only been on really bad terms a couple of times, and that was due to a third party, both times 2 different people. Anywho, I always had the kids. I love my girls to death. They were just so little and sweet. They were 3 and 6 days away from 2 when I had moved out, and it was 5 or 6 years before I met my wife, let alone we moved in together, which was about 2 years or a year after that, and then got married 5 years ago. But
well, she's got 2 kids of her own as well, right?
She does.
Yeah.
So, and then my girl's mother also had a kid that was 5 years older than my oldest. And so I jumped right into stepdad mode with her. But when we split, there was also issues. It was not a good co-parenting thing with his dad at all. It was very combative. it was very much like watching two people, like one person, the old stories like, oh, I found this dog. I love this dog. I want to keep this dog. And then the owner finds the dog and it's, well, let's see who the dog comes to. And
Yeah.
that's what I watched happen with this kid. And I was trying to be a consistent parent. It's like, if you're being a fuck up, I'm going to call you a fuck up. But they wouldn't, neither one of them would back me up. Right. So it was
Gotcha.
like, well, they'd be like, no, we're gonna let him off scot-free doing this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, no, you can't, no. And for whatever. So, anyways, I had my girls more often than not. At one point, like I was 5 or 6 days a week, they were with me. And then about a year and a half later, my ex moved out of town. And it was one of the times we weren't getting along so great, almost went to court, but didn't. I just turned around and said, fuck it. And I registered them for a school near me. And I said, I've already got them registered. I showed up. It was a little bit of a dirty play, but I showed up at that school and I registered them. Like I was right behind the person that unlocked the door. And the secretary's like, hey, it's too early for this. Can I get a coffee? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'm here now. I know this. It's fine. I said, no, I've already registered from school. Here's the deal. I will meet you at Horseshoe Bay, because she'd moved to the Sunshine Coast, every Friday, or during the school year. I'll meet you there after school every weekend. I'll have them for the 4 or 5 days. In the summer and the spring break, we alternate back and forth weeks. That worked for 2 years. So here's where it gets real tricky for me. So I raised these two on and off. There was 6 weeks where they lived in the Sunshine Coast, but I was going through some other stuff that I'm not going to delve into here, because it was a dark time. But she had already planned on moving back, and so it's like they lived there for 6 weeks, did school there for 6 weeks, and then they were basically back. It's like, okay, we're back to almost a 50-50, a little more on my side. We sorted it out. So when they were doing that, I'd met a group of friends, and it was karaoke at the pub. So I had nothing else to do on the weekends. Sarah, friend of the show, who's been chiming in, phoned me up one day, or messaged me or texted me. It's like, hey, what are you doing? You want to go for a beer? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'll go for a beer. And I'm in the car with her and this gentleman that she knew that would eventually become her husband, who is just a tremendous piece of shit and the absolute antithesis of anything manhood that I could probably explain to you. So I met this group of people, and it's like, okay, well, I got nothing better to do. They're like, well, we're going down to the pub again. And, Sarah's kids were old enough to be whatever. And we go down, we'd have a sing, we have a couple drinks, we go home. And people are like, oh, yeah, you're single, no kids. I'm like, no, I got kids. And because I was out every weekend, a lot of people just figured I was a deadbeat dad. And it came up one day, and a bunch of people were like, what do you mean you see your kids? We didn't think you saw your kids at all. I'm like, no, I have them 5 days a week. I'm not out every night. I'm out Friday and Saturday. And then Sunday I'm going to pick them up. Like, everybody thought I was this deadbeat fucking dad. And when it was explained to them that I am not a deadbeat dad, I am actually the responsible parent. I was the one doing the hour drive to Horseshoe Bay and the hour drive back.
Yeah, and that's a lot to ask.
Taking care of them, doing the school. I have yet to collect a dime from her in child support. And given her situation now, I'm never going to bother, because she's in a tough spot health-wise, and it'll never happen.
There's so many single parents or split up parents that I know that don't even get the value of what the other parent is supposed to be paying, just because dealing with trying to get it is too much of a headache for what it's worth. And it's just like, it's fair. Like, if you are supposed to be getting this much child support from the other parent, but just trying to get it is such a mental stress on your life, is it worth it?
Yeah. No, and
is it worth that extra $100, $200, $300 or whatever it is? Yeah.
I encourage them, sign up for the FMEP, because they'll keep track of it. And what'll happen is FMEP, Family Maintenance Enforcement Program, is going to stop them from doing things. You won't be able to reinsure your car. You won't be able to re-get your driver's license or your passport until you get caught up. And I know this,
but that has to be agreed upon, though, like in court and stuff.
Well, you know what? If
it's
in writing, absolutely, it's worked out in my favor. We had the girl's older brother, dad, in there, and he got pissed when he went to do his car insurance and couldn't. He's like, "You guys all did this." I'm like, "No, you did this yourself." I know that this other piece of shit is racking up a bill, and it's going to be fucking hysterical. And he is the opposite of me. He's got a huge debt. I've seen the spreadsheet. He has not seen this child he is running around out there saying is being kept from him, hasn't made an effort to contact him in 2 years. 2 years.
That's brutal, man.
And he's doing the exact opposite thing I did. He's out there running his mouth saying, "Well, my one child, my recent ex won't let me see him." And then he's got an older one too, and he told that exact same story to people, and I think it's fucking bullshit.
Feel bad for those kids.
Still selling it.
Yeah.
And this absolute piece of garbage has at least one more child that we have confirmed that he let somebody else think he was the dad of.
Oh my God.
Until they did like some sort of project where it was, check the DNA, and I don't remember the basis of it, but it ran through the extended circle of Facebook friends.
That's crazy.
Yeah, this fucking happened. But this guy was raising this kid for many years, to the point where it's like, okay, but I love this child that I have thought up for so many years that this, and then there's one more that's under suspicion, and this absolute piece of garbage is out there running around saying it's everybody else's fault, and it's the exact opposite, and that's not manhood. That's just an absolute piece of garbage.
Yeah, he's a coward. He's a fucking coward, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. He's scum of the earth. Like he's to the point where somebody had to serve him documents, and through when it came back that the list of people he would allow to come over and serve him documents so he felt safe, there was one name on there as a must not deliver: mine.
Sweet.
Well, you absolutely just will not look me square in the face, which is probably good, because I've gotten over a lot of my anger issues in my life. This motherfucker, I don't want to say things on the air because it's documented and that makes it premeditated. But let's say he makes my anger issues. It unlocks the cage.
Yeah.
And it's the exact opposite of my story. And I was lucky. I found my wife, and I don't use the word step unless I absolutely have to. I got 4 kids.
You do?
When people that I've just met are like, "Oh, you got kids?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got 4." They're like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "Yeah, my hair is mostly the same color, and I still got decent coverage, so I'm probably older than you think." And I got 4 kids. Well, how old are they? And then I tell them the ages. They're like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, okay, well, it's the thing. And then it comes down to, it's like, well, where's this kid and this kid? Why are they doing it? I was like, oh, they're dads. Oh, yeah, no, they're not all mine.
Yeah.
But, and one of those things that Mike was saying about doing the bagel is I drive the boy to work all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Part of it is because his mom is working when he normally has to go, but it's one of the last things he needs me for.
Mm-hmm.
Our third oldest, our second from the top, my youngest, drive her to work all the time. I mean, this is one of the reasons that we do the 9 o'clock, is because I can drop her off at work Saturday morning for like 8:45. They still need me for a little bit. They don't need their own money because they're working, right? I'm out of it. This is the first Christmas we've had where it's not all 4 of the kids decorating the tree with my wife, and I don't generally participate, but I enjoy watching it because they're just all over it. Unlike my own father, I'm not in there pruning the tree. One, because it's plastic. Two, because I actually saw him a couple of times accidentally snip the light line. Which was
Oops.
awesome.
That's awesome.
Then he yells at you because it's your fault somehow
Yeah.
because you weren't helping.
No.
But that's only
Well,
your
if you were here helping, I wouldn't have had
That-
to.
that's only your house.
Oh, that's only my
mom
dad,
was
yeah.
yelling at him for snipping the lights.
The flat,
But
yeah.
I'm at, so my journey has come
Yeah,
through that where people are like, holy shit, you're the rare, and it is the rare responsible dad. And I have no, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that my two step kids fathers, but he's actually been awesome to co-parent with. We've been on the same page way more often than not. And you know, we've been as worried for his two stepchildren as he has been for, you know, my two oldest, or our two oldest. And he's been an absolute joy to co-parent with. I mean, it's not a whole lot of communication, but when it is over the kids, we're usually all on the same page. And I've been grateful for what he's done. He's been grateful for what I've done. And we've, you know, at one point he found out that his two kids completely forgot to say Happy Father's Day one year.
Oops.
And that's fine. They normally spend it at their dad's, as they should. But
Yep.
he turned around and ripped a strip off of both of them. He's like, no.
Well, that's good.
So that was my journey.
Yeah.
Right. Like that was, I had a job where I was on call a lot. I mean, there were times I had to take him with me to work, going, okay, hey, is one of these people around? Cool. Can I borrow them for 45 minutes while I fix this problem? And they just sat and colored with this one or two people that I would trust them with, while daddy worked. And I can't imagine doing it any other way.
No,
I can't. I mean, a lot of that is knowing and having seen how their mom dealt with certain situations that I didn't trust. There's actually a lot more to it that I'm not going to get into because I don't want to, you know, bring up shit that I shouldn't. But that was my journey as a single parent. Mike,
That's for off camera stuff.
That it is definitely for off camera stuff, or it is for when much further down the road when nobody's going to be offended because everybody is dead. So maybe it may be next year, it may be 50 years down the road. We don't know.
Okay.
So Seb, you've done the uncle thing, but Mike, you've never done the single parent thing. You've had this. No. You and your wife have been married for 25 years.
We have been married for going on 19.
You should know this, Mike.
Yeah, well, we're at 18 right now.
I'm waiting for the shoe to come through the door and smack him in the back of the head.
We've been together since the year 2000.
Watch for the shoe.
Okay.
So we've been together 23 years total. And it's been obviously a much more traditional route than what Matt took. We've stayed together through thick and thin, and we're raising two amazing kids together best we can, right? And I don't know, it's crazy. Like I've been at my same job for 25.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Like there's so much. That's what I was saying when this dog sort of upset the apple cart. Like my life is full of consistencies, right? Like me and Sherry have, we are walking this path together, and she's always at my side, kind of thing. And now, all these little things, the first, let's just go stick with animals. The first, the rescue guy.
So what I know of you, Mike, is consistency is your comfort zone.
Oh, absolutely.
Like you want everything to be consistent and the same, and then
if
it's not, there's anxiety that starts
in the road, man. I wanted to go straight down the highway, and that's how I do my. I got my routines.
Some people would argue that the curves are the fun part of life. Some would argue. Some would argue.
You know what? A lot of time though, that is in hindsight.
Yeah.
Like going through those curves, it's like taking a corner at 150 miles an hour. You're all of a sudden absolutely terrified about the outcome, but when you get through it, you're like, oh man, that was rad.
Yes. But I don't know. I think relationship wise, I like it I like it where it's at, right? Like it's we both I think we both would agree that, we are, obviously in this together, or else we wouldn't be together. If we weren't aligned 100% with how we, want to be married, how we want to spend our lives together. Like, we've been together for over half of our lives. Like, that's a huge statement, right? It's like, yeah, it's crazy. But I don't think I couldn't picture doing it with anybody else or any other way, really.
She's a good
Like,
one.
yeah, like, do sometimes we both think, oh, maybe we should have stayed in the city. There's been times, but also we're raising our kids in an area that was very reminiscent. Again, going down the highway straight, we're raising our kids in a neighborhood that was like very much like our neighborhoods growing up. It's exactly the same thing. We know everybody on the street, or we feel safe out here. We can let the kids, when they were younger, they just go out and fucking
roam around without
right.
any major
Yes.
safety concerns,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And again, it's the consistency of life. We chose this area specifically for that, because it's crazy. But
I mean, you guys have seen my neighborhood. We're not a tight knit community. I mean, on the property,
every house
we're all
is
pretty
50
Well, you
miles
need
apart.
you
It's
need
kind
to
of
take
hard.
a bus ride to the next house over. It's
exactly. But
Yeah.
when my kids were younger, I lived in 2 cul-de-sacs, and my mother lived in one of the same cul-de-sacs that I took over her place at one point. And all the kids, it was a tight-knit community. We'd be out there. I mean, during that, I've told this story before. I was barbecuing during the 2010 gold medal game in hockey for one of my kids' birthdays. And it was just all the parents would bring their chairs out. Doesn't matter what time of year, the kids were out there. We'd all draw up our chairs. We'd sit. The parents would, we'd go back and forth. If we had something to do, we could either run out quick and somebody would watch the kids, or, we could go in the house and do it and come back.
Sure.
And that was great. Moving out here, not so much. I mean, the kids, the other kids on the property that belong to the grandkids of the landlord were much younger than ours, so they didn't really for some of my wife's before and after school care for years, like they were about the same age, so they would hang out and play. But we didn't have that. I mean, we had that when we were growing up in North Delta. Seb, you were on a cul-de-sac. I don't know what your neighbors were like. I was on a cul-de-sac a couple of times, and I knew some of the neighbors, and it was like, yeah, we're just gonna go fuck around. It's like, and I think that's lost a lot of the times. Like,
we had wonderful
you couldn't
neighbors.
have kept me out of the creek on this property. And yet my kids wouldn't go anywhere. Well, no, and it's like, no, we're not going to go play in the creek. Like, no, we can't. Like,
so we had 3 Polish families living in our cul-de-sac, and my neighbor to my right they had a daughter which was a year younger than I. So we obviously had like a lot of things in common. And in '88 is when I first started watching the Canucks. They had that legendary series against the Calgary Flames where Joel Otto kicked the puck in the net to win it in Game 7, and Stan Smith was the breakaway.
Not bitter at all.
Not bitter at all.
Not at all.
But that's when that's when I became a Canucks fan. But we would watch every game together as a collective. So we would we would take turns watching it at one of the 3 houses, whether it's ours or the 2 neighbors, and it just felt like that cul-de-sac was just community. Like, it was just such a community driven cul-de-sac. Like, everyone would be able to go to any of the different houses. I would babysit the other family's kids once in a while, right? Because I think I was 13 or 14 when I first moved in there. So yeah, it was community, right? Like, you knew everyone. You could go into anyone's garage whenever you want just to like grab a ball or whatever. Nobody cared. So, is that kind of lost in today? I think. Yeah, I think so. For the most part,
it might be. I mean, it's hard for me to really say. Like, I don't even have friends sort of in that situation that I could ask, because the group of us, the Aldergrove group of us, 2 of us live on big acreage. And Sarah lives in a townhouse complex, but it's mostly older couples. Like, I think her son is basically on his own in there. Like, I don't think there's a big group of kids around. And quite frankly, um, with the traffic in and out, and some of the not so awesome aspects of her exact location, even though it's much improved, I don't know. I would be fucking worried if that were the case.
Yeah.
I don't. It'd be interesting to find out. So, I mean, if anybody listening is in a situation where like, oh no, we have that, like that does exist still. I know it existed a little bit. And oh, look at that. So we do have a live listener. There's a couple getting old enough to play, but it's changed. So I mean, there you go. Which means Spencer is probably the oldest of those single digit kids. And it's been a while since we had Spencer on for a joke. We're gonna have to figure that out too. He's got a couple of solid
Get
ones.
in there, kid.
Yeah, we need to get him in there.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, well, I can work something out. He's got a couple of solid new ones. He's a little fluffy guy in the making. So yeah, now Seb, with the
Yes.
and we're running along today, and I'm cool with it.
I don't care. I'm fine.
With the nephews, how's
Nephew
that
and
been
niece.
for you? Like Mike, you have, this is great because we've had single dad, we've had completely committed dad. Check your phone. What's your experience been with raising the kids and all that, and being around the nephews?
Well, so they're kind of blessed because both the grandparents are retired. So
Mhm.
when they were younger, they took a lot of ownership in like helping raise their kids, like the grandparents. So I wasn't really called upon to do a lot of like legwork, but I remember having, not having is the wrong word, but enjoying attending all of their like major events. So like Chantel was a competitive dancer, for example. So you come in and you see, I don't know, being like an uncle is and maybe other people can comment on this, but like you're only kind of there for like the good moments, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all hit and miss. And when you are there,
Yeah.
like I got friends of ours up the road, due to a situation, it's a bit of a long story. She's my not wife, and I'm her not husband. I have not parents. I have not sisters. I have a not brother. And it is the best thing because her two youngest kids, her oldest one is about the same age as my oldest. She calls me not father, but the two youngest call me uncle, not dad, which is amazing when
That's
people
awesome.
finally would hear that for
Yeah.
the first dad. It's like, we have questions. Like,
It
because it
is
sounds very hillbilly.
it is
But yeah, I mean,
also it is also unusual that both of their parents, so my sister and brother-in-law, are in career paths that allow them to be home a lot. So Rich is a sales rep, but he works out of his home 4 of the 5 days of the week. So he's allowed, like, so he's there, you know, in it. So yeah, no, it's been fun. They are older now, so my niece has graduated university this year.
Oh wow. Jeez.
Just
yeah,
to put that
it's
into
weird, right?
context. Yeah, so it's kind of odd. But I my niece and I uh are kind of like aligned spiritually almost.
Mhm.
And you know, like my sister doesn't get her like Chantel a lot, neither does Rich, but I understand the way she thinks and understand the way she believes in things, right? Because it's very in line with what I am. And so they have a hard time understanding how she feels about certain things. So I will talk, like I've talked to her on several occasions when it happened to be like with boys and stuff like that, because my sister's a lot like my dad, where she's very systematic and like it's this way or that way.
Mhm.
She doesn't, you
Mhm.
know, I'm not going to say that she doesn't have empathy for a lot of other people, but it's hard for her to feel empathy truly for something.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
Whereas
yeah,
like
I mean,
I've
some people are just wired that way. And I
yeah,
think that's a big problem with the absolute pile of crap that I was talking about earlier. He doesn't get it.
yeah.
And
Well, my sister
some
is
people handle it
kind.
better. But
My
yeah.
sister is a very kind, considerate human for sure. Like she's always about family.
Oh, and let
But
me just just pause for a second. I'm not calling your niece or
No,
you a
I
pile
know,
of
I know.
crap for not
Yeah.
getting it. Some people take it to an extreme. Go ahead.
But you know, my I'm massively introverted as a person, and I'm an extrovert because of my chosen profession. I've been working in the food and beverage industry for 20 plus years, so it forces me to be in a group of people all the time. But like at the end of the day, I would prefer to go home by myself and just be alone than go out again. You know, it's different when we were teenagers because it's, you know,
Mhm.
because that's I think everyone is kind of extroverted as a teenager, especially if we have a great group of friends like we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So that's that you mentioned that, and I immediately went to it's like, yeah, but you were one of the more extroverted of the group. I was very introverted. I didn't fall into
I'm
that
not
group
though.
until real like the last half of grade 12. You and Mark I had really connected with in the first half of grade 12
Yeah.
due to law 12, and the rest of the group it was just because I had all my classes up there and my locker was on the other side of the fucking school, so I just come
Yeah,
over
but
and
you
talk to
have to
you and Mark,
understand that
and I fell into that group. And
that
you were
in
you were one of the more extroverted. Now,
Yeah, but a true extrovert is comfortable in group situations. The reason that I was comfortable being extroverted is because I was in a comfortable situation with a lot of people. But like an
yeah,
extrovert who's in an uncomfortable situation doesn't care. You know, like an
right.
extrovert can walk into a room and just like, "Hey, how's it going?" And it's like
And
that's
just
not me.
yeah.
I've never been
I'm
that type of person. So,
I'm very capable of it if I have a
yeah.
job to do.
Well, because you
I
learned how to do it through your profession because you were a
Yeah.
karaoke host for how many
Well, and
years,
not
right?
even that.
So,
I learned how to do it because I was handed a microphone at Colossus one day and said, "Go do the front of the
yeah.
house." And I'm like, "Oh God, I got to stand up in front of people." It's like you either do this or you're taking tickets. I didn't want to take tickets, and then I realized, wait, if I do this, I'm also not cleaning up the trash. So I got good
Well,
at it because I didn't
I
want to put it. I didn't, and it worked out that I ended up cleaning up. Just I was like, oh, you got free time? Come out. I was like, oh crap, yeah. So I ended up doing a lot of it, but yeah, I learned how to do it. I can I can go like on the cruise ship, and I know this is something keeps popping up because it's the only thing relevant really in my life these days. Is if I'm doing karaoke, if I have a job to do, if I have a purpose to be in front of a crowd, it's one of the reasons why Adam at work really likes having me around because he knows as I learn stuff, I can stand in front of a classroom and teach a chlorine class and how to deal with it. He's like, you have no problem talking to a crowd of people. If I have a job, no. If I'm just standing there bullshitting, sometimes I just nope, can't do it. It's one of the reasons I stopped smoking weed out in public in groups as much because I just shut up and be quiet and don't know why anybody wants me around. But it's a learned. It's not just learned though. It's selective extrovertism. Does
yeah.
that sound about right to you?
Yeah. Like a true extrovert, you hand them the mic, they'll be like, "Give it to me, I'm good."
Yeah.
Whereas like I'm required to be on the mic several times throughout the year to like host parties and stuff,
Mhm.
and I am nervous every single
I'm
time.
available for that.
Well, it's yeah, but you know, I'm became comfortable doing it because I've been doing it for 13 years,
Yeah.
but there's never a situation where like, okay, I got to go on the mic and my nerves take over. It's just, you know, I don't know if other people are like that when they have to speak on the mic, but I'm always nervous
Yeah.
when I have to speak.
Well, I
I've
mean,
just been
it's
doing it for so long that I'm pretty good at it, and I just trust myself and I just go and go, okay, I can do this. Let's go.
well, I mean, it's an
So,
old joke from I think Seinfeld did it, and a lot of hack comedians have, but it's actually based in fact. Is the number two fear in the world is death, and public speaking is number one, which means if you go to a funeral, most people would rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm the other way around. I want to be around for as long as I possibly can. Not that I'm doing everything right, but you know, I'm not doing much stupid shit either. Um, yeah, selective extrovertism, and I think that's it. Is like, well, I have a job to do, and I have people that need this money, so I'm gonna go do it. Um, on the cruise ship, I can talk to people if I'm having a couple drinks out there, but in a large group, I might be fairly quiet. However, it's like okay, well, it's your turn for karaoke. And that's, the shirt comes off and I'm screaming Rage Against the Machine to a group of 300 people that are screaming, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me right back at me.
Good song, by the way.
But I am more than content to come home after work and not go out again till work again. I'll watch TV, I'll read comic books, I'll read a book, I'll play a video game, whatever. I'm more than happy to not to. But there's also people are like, well, we don't want to do it. Get Matt to do it. Matt'll come host the wedding. Matt'll come, Matt'll give the speech. Okay, yeah, Matt will. And then sometimes I've had something to say and had a few too many in me, and I've done something stupid. Sorry, Joe. Might have shut my mouth off at a wedding. Sorry about that. Yeah, so it is what it is. It's just your select. Yeah, I like that term, selective extrovert.
There's a thing called a extroverted introvert.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real thing. So, or maybe as that I'm at work in a social environment for 40 hours a week plus.
Yeah.
So kind of the last thing I want to do on my days off is be in a social environment,
right?
Because I've
Absolutely.
been doing it all day long for 5 days a week. So,
yeah.
But my dad is an extrovert for the most part. He has to be around family the whole time. All the time. It's like family. Yeah. He needs people around him. My sister's the same way. Whereas Chantel and Owen is actually super introverted because he'll spend a lot of time by himself. I mean, not now because he's in university, so he's doing the university things with his buddies. But when he was younger, he would just stay downstairs playing hockey or whatever with himself or looking at cards. He's totally comfortable with that, right? So, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember your dad, during Christmas was one of those guys that would set up shop in the mall, in the middle of the mall, selling his glassware, his blown glass stuff. And I worked in the same mall for a couple of Christmases.
Dude, we were across from each other. I remember he set up right across from I can't remember the name of your music place. What was it called?
Music World.
Music World, yeah. Because I remember looking in, I'm like, I can see Music World in there. Matt and I waving back at each other.
Yeah.
So talk about
he was across from my mom's store.
Yeah. So
but I remember seeing I'd go say, oh, I'm gonna go grab a drink. I'll say hi to old Wojtek there on my way by, and he had a crowd of people. He was just talking up a storm. I mean, I'd get the nod and the hey, what's up? I'm like, all right, he's too busy because I ain't buying shit.
Was he ever making glass? Did you ever see him make glass?
I never saw him actually make the glass.
Yeah, I don't know if he was actually allowed to in Guildford.
Not in the mall.
Yeah, some of the other malls would let him set up his torch so he could make glass. So he would always when business started to slow down, he would just hop on and start glass blowing because it's an open flame, so a lot of people probably won't let you do that, right? But he'd always draw a crowd that way.
I mean, and at that point, because he was a seasonal guy, it would be the middle of the mall, those little kiosks. But to do that, they'd have to close off a big section, which means traffic gets tighter, and they might have to keep somebody away from that, getting one of the big courtyard spots. That's kind of the Santa territory, right? So I never saw him actually blow the glass. I just saw the finished work.
Yeah, I know he used to do it at other malls, but so talk about doing your duty as a man. For a lot of years I resented the Christmas time because as a lot of my friends would have weeks the 2 weeks off around Christmas time and be hanging out, guess where Sebi was in the mall?
He was working.
So Sebi had to work because he had to work for the family, right? So, and at the time he didn't get it, but now I understand that was bank season. Everyone's buying Christmas ornaments, glass ornaments, bulbs, glass blowing products. It was insane the amount of sales that we would do just within that 1 month of December versus the rest of the year. It was very important. And so, you do it for the family, I guess. Oh my God. Cat's all over me.
Yeah.
So are you getting another dog then? Are you getting a third one? Got to make it a pack, buddy.
Nope. No more animals. Once the cats are
Chihuahua.
Oh God. No, once the cats are done, we're done. I think
why is my camera so low?
sort of made the decision that these two dogs are the last dogs, because if we have, you know, Burton, if he lives till he's 15,
Get a
Christ,
fish.
no, we had fish. They had to go. It's just too fish are way too much work, man.
Well, yeah, it's
Well,
the cleaning of the aquarium. It's
clean
problematic,
you
right?
gotta clean that damn thing every week, and it's just
Just get like a snail or whatever it is. Slug? What is it? Snail?
I don't know.
I don't know.
No, we're good. We're good with what we got. But hey, I've been listening to some music that I think you would absolutely love. He's an instrumental guitar player, and I've never
Send it.
I have I wait till Matt gets back. I want to play something. Like, I'm not into super flash. Hey Matt, I'm not into super flashy guitar playing, but this guy, oh my god, the music's good, and he's I know, because I've got this video queued up at a spot where when he starts doing the solo, it's just like, I don't understand how someone's hands can move.
Send it.
Matt, I'm gonna link something.
Yeah, fire it over.
Because I want to show Seb this solo. It's fucking bananas.
Okay. And Seb hit on something that really, really resonated with me, is that, you know, being a man and doing what you got to do for your family. I remember, and I'll do this real quick while you're queuing that up. Twice, we had bad shit go down in Nanaimo. My dad was no longer able to coach or do hockey, and he ended up as a baker. He was baking for Buns Master.
Oh, I saw you were gonna say, so Matt took the reins of coaching hockey.
No, fuck no. No, I was
go out there and do the hockey.
And then so he and until the owner, good friends of ours, said, look, these hands were not meant for baking. So basically, you're doing a shit job, you're feeding your family, that's fine. You're not working out here. We're gonna
that's amazing.
And then in the early 2000s, there was a bit of a power struggle through a bunch of the coaches. He just wasn't playing the game, and he ended up mulching cedar branches to make cedar tree oil, and he did that for about a year and a half. And yeah, it's Sarah's laughing because she knows exactly how that would go down. I couldn't do the hockey.
Does she know where that saying comes from?
Completely out of his wheelhouse as a man going, I got a mortgage to pay, I got mouths to feed.
Absolutely.
You know, my brother and I were both working, but I mean, still he's gotta live up to his half. Bring home something. If you are above the age of 16 as a human being, get a goddamn job. You don't have to pay rent. You don't have to pay a mortgage. You don't have to go out and buy anything, but carry your own weight.
Yep.
And I am absolutely thinking of one person I know right now. I told, our son, I told him, he's like, hey, you're 16. So, at the end of the school year last year, it's like, look, here's the deal. You don't have a job. Both your older sisters went out and had jobs at this point. You need to start looking, because your PlayStation is mine until you have a job. You get a job, you get your PlayStation back. I'm not sitting, you're not going to sit here all summer and not have a job.
Nope.
Right. So anyways, okay. So we have the guitar queued up. I sent.
Okay. So this guy, his name is Andy James. He just came up on like some random, like, hey, check this out playlist on Apple for me. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what it is. But this guy is fucking incredible. Absolutely incredible. You guys hear it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like the middle breakdown of the song. And
his guitar.
It's very modern.
Yeah.
Modern sort of metal. But when the solo really gets going, it's like, holy shit. It's like the videos on fast forward. Like here we go.
Yeah. So if you're just listening along, again, this is Burning Blade by Andy James official on YouTube.
Just the command of the guitar is absolutely, it's insanity. Like,
yeah, he's good.
And this part's really cool. Like, it's just a sweet, and all his music is like this. He's got tons out there. He's fucking awesome. I've listened the whole time we've been talking,
guitar,
actually.
Man.
Yeah. he's still a British guy. He was in like death metal bands in the early 2000s, and he's got a big YouTube presence. He does instructional videos and stuff, which I know where I watched one. I'm like, I'll never be able to do any of it. But yeah, that's
You know how you can tell he's a new metal guitarist?
the 7-string guitar.
7-string guitar, baby. It's like every new metal guitarist has a 7-string guitar. First, they need that extra bassy top.
Yes. But he
low
utilizes
string.
it in such a good way where it's not all on that seventh, really that B low string. The guitar, and his riffs are pretty cool.
That was rad. I'm gonna have to look up some more stuff. So again, it was Andy James, and that was about Burning Blade. Check that out on YouTube. Hopefully, we talked just enough not to get a YouTube strike on that. However, I also find that stuff like that really doesn't get us the YouTube strike. We gotta have one of those dick artists that or owners of said music that are like, no.
Well, I think I made sure I kept talking during the whole thing. Just because.
Yeah, you did. Which I mean, and that's an interesting thing because it makes it tough for people to hear, but at the same time, I don't want to have to cut it out either because YouTube's like, go fuck yourself.
Well,
so again,
time you know.
You know what? Honestly, YouTube does it itself. I just have to sit here for extra long waiting for it to do that or authorize stuff. But I have had points where I've had to go back and re-edit the audio to release some stuff on other platforms. But yeah, Andy James, that was fantastic. Look that guy up
on YouTube. It's Andy James Official. He's got billions of videos. He does lots of playthroughs, and man, it's like I was telling Seb, like I'm not into Flash. Like I don't like flashy guitar playing, but something about his playing really sort of speaks to the three chest hairs. 3 chest hairs I have, they stand up when he plays. It's like, holy shit, this guy's good. And
oh, sorry, that's for you to watch after, Matt.
Okay, that's that's in the wrong comment section, my friend. And I am doing the hockey. Absolutely not. I am doing a podcast talking to people that know about hockey. Hopefully the coach is back shortly. All right, so we're rounding third here. I think we're creeping on 2 hours. Here's the other thing that really occurred to me. We've had a couple of weeks to sit with this topic. Adult male hobbies have changed in the last several decades. You can see behind me. Now I see this guy on Facebook. And he refurbishes toys, specifically the old LJN wrestling figures, the big, thick rubber ones that didn't move.
I have lots of those. Yeah.
And what he'll do is he'll either refurbish them or he'll make a modern wrestler out of them.
Oh, cool.
And he says, to keep my stress level, something is like this page is like, to keep my stress level low, I have a child's hobby. I have a child's hobby. What would be considered a child's hobby is comic book collecting. However, these shit don't cost a dime or a dollar anymore. These are like $5-6 a piece, and some of them can be upwards if they're thicker or a special edition for some words. They can be upwards. You're walking out the store at $10 an issue, and you wouldn't normally see that. But when I'm at the comic shop, it's not full of kids.
No,
and it's not because
our age, man.
And it's not because it's a small shop that nobody knows about. It's because most of the customers are adults. It's it's something. I don't know if it's our version of a midlife crisis where I'm not going out to buy a Corvette or a Porsche, and unbuttoning my shirt with the gold chains or whatever the midnight crisis sort of stereotype is to you. I went back to comic books. I love the stories. I have no problem dropping issues if the writing is garbage or I don't like the art. I love reading the stories. We all play video games. I mean, you guys are PC gamers. As we've discussed before, putting me on the internet with a video game is a bad idea.
Look out.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I'm deep in. I can get sucked into Red Dead or Spider-Man or something like that really easy. Really excited for the Grand Theft Auto that's coming up. Like that's the one as I said to a friend of mine, that's the one that's going to cost me a lot of money. Why? Because I don't own a PS5 yet.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's a.
That's the game that's gonna cost me like $700 because I'm gonna have to go out and buy the PS5 and then buy the game and then buy the 2 or 3 games that I thought were cool that aren't available for the PS4, like Spider-Man or a couple other things. It's just that's the one that's gonna cost me the money.
Oh yes.
So I mean, you guys are both gamers, Mike. I'm looking at some Star Wars stuff behind you. I'm looking at some Muppet stuff behind you. I mean, playing guitar, I think I mean, Seb, I don't know. Do you still play that much or
Yeah,
at
a little
all?
bit. I haven't.
'Cause,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I play a little bit.
so I mean,
My electric
honestly,
guitar is broken, so I only have an acoustic guitar. So I'm trying to figure out how much to spend on a brand new electric.
but I mean, that's
So,
one of the things that would be considered an old school hobby for a grown ass man.
Yeah.
But video games, we evolved with video games. We literally grew up with them.
Mhm.
Like Pong is about the same age as we are, give or take a year or two.
Yeah, it's up there.
So like it's one of those things. It's like, oh, you didn't give up video games when you were a kid. You didn't give up comic books when you were a kid. Like, and I did for many years because I mean, one, stores closed, but two, it was just nobody else was into it, and so I spent my money on other things I could smoke. But middle-aged man hobbies. How do you guys feel about these? Like, do you get what I'm saying about they seem to have changed, and it's almost like we're still children.
Yes.
Well,
in
how
some
many
aspects of it.
how many young men from the ages of 20 to 30 are actually working on cars?
Good question.
Right.
Like that was like a familiar man's hobby in like
Yes.
the 70s, 80s, 90s is working.
Yeah, my
on your
dad was
car.
always tinkering on something, right?
Yeah, or being a hands-on type of guy. Now your men are playing Fortnite, World of Warcraft, Dota, Call of Duty.
Diablo
that's
4, whatever,
Diablo
right?
4,
Whatever
that's
floats your
where
boat. Minecraft even. Like,
or
I
they're
know what-
doing TikToks, they're doing social media, they're trying to make that aspect of it. I think sports is eternal. I think kids will always grow up playing sports regardless. And some people never play sports, but a lot of people do. I think it's the competition against others that as a man love. Like I love competing against other people, whether
you still play soccer too, right?
Yes. So it's traditionally, before video games were a thing, that was largely involved in sports and car racing and just stuff like that, status competing against other people. Now the status of competition, a lot of it has moved into the virtual world, where it's through social media, it's through video games, right? So it has definitely shifted the hobbies of men, like comic book collector, yourself. Mike and I both play video games pretty a lot, I guess.
Yeah, you guys have a very I think I would classify it as I play video games solo, you guys play them socially.
Right? Yeah, we're online gamers.
You're online.
Well, I'm probably more of an online gamer than Mike is, for sure.
I play them. I don't interact. I'm a typical only child. I just do my own fucking thing. Right? Whether there's other people around or not, I'm just doing what I'm doing, and that's what
I think that's another interesting thing about our dynamic is you're an only child. I have a younger brother that's not that much younger than me, but we don't see eye to eye. I don't want to say we don't get along because we used to not get along at all, but we're not close. Seb is probably by far the closest with a sibling. Out of, well, I mean, obviously the three of us, but between me and him, because I mean, again,
we're so
and
far
I think
apart.
my 3 nieces, my brother's kids, and he's sort of in the same situation as I am. He's got one with his current wife, and she brought 2 to the table. And I love all 3 of them equally, and I know he loves his kids equally. When we sit down, or it's actually funny because I think my stepmom talked to my mom one day and said, without their women, the Harding men would never talk to each other. And my mom's like, yep. So without my wife, my sister-in-law, and my stepmom, me and my dad and my brother would maybe talk once a year. Like,
Yeah.
and Seb, that's very different for you. I mean, my niece, I think my oldest niece is just fucking hysterical because the last time they were here, she had gotten in a bunch of trouble at home. I won't get into why, but she decided as a fuck you to my brother, and I feel comfortable telling this story because he ain't ever gonna listen to this. Um, she wanted to bring her bearded dragon to show our
Oh, I love
youngest
bearded
because they're the
dragons.
same age. And my brother said no. She went, go fuck yourself. I'm already in trouble. What else can you do to me? Like she gotten herself in some pretty serious trouble. And from my perspective, I think my brother overreacted to it, but I ain't the parent there and I ain't gonna call the ball. But I was in the kitchen, I was making dinner, and the two kids were downstairs, and my wife's like, did you see the dragon? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, no, I didn't take any gummies. Are you microdosing something? Like, what the fuck? He's like,
She
no, no.
put it in there for you.
And she's like, yeah, she brought the bearded dragon. I'm like, what the fuck? How'd she bring a dragon? I wander downstairs. And I'm trying not to run downstairs, and I whip open the door, and I go, did you bring a lizard into this house? And she got wide-eyed. I'm like, no, you ain't in trouble, and I ain't stooging you off. I want to see it. And she's like, oh God, Uncle Matt's fucking cool.
Dude, I love bearded dragons, man. I've always
I
wanted
laughed.
one, but I don't think they're
What
good
she
with
had done
cats.
is she had put it under her shirt and she put it on her shirt so it was right next to her body, and then put a hoodie on. I was super fucking impressed. My brother may only find out if he watches this podcast. But like
What's the
she got
likelihood
away
of
with
that?
it. Like as they were leaving, there was hugs and stuff. And if you knew, you could tell that she was not, it wasn't like the nice big tight hug. She kind of left a little room for Jesus there so he didn't squish the lizard. But she got away with it. It was,
There you go.
and I'm like, I'm not like, and I'm not saying you're a stool pigeon, but with a closer relationship, maybe I'd have stooged that off. I was like, hey, your kid's starting to get away with some shit over here. But I'm like, no, fuck this guy. This is fucking rad. But yeah, and my brother and I just don't have the relationship where I'm willing to get his kids in extra trouble. Maybe it makes me the cool uncle and the bad brother, or maybe it's just like appreciating the fact that this kid's slick and is sort of standing up for herself.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
it was fucking rad. Yeah, I just absolutely love the fact that she did it and got away with it. So, kid, I'm sorry if he hears this and you get in trouble 2 years later.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to bring up on this?
No, proud. I had a bit of a sort of a proud, cool moment. Junior, obviously, his music tastes are mine.
Yep.
So he came to me the other day. He's like, Dad, I want to learn
get a
how to
Metallica tattoo.
No. I said, I've got one for the both of us. Thanks. He's like, no, I want to learn how to either play guitar or bass.
Good for him.
I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, well, I have right here. Like there's a bass right there, and Mr. Guitar is right there. I said, well, you have full access to any of my stuff because
except for this and that.
Except for you touch any of the stuff on the desk, I will kill you. But other than that, anything else is fair game. And I've got the electric drum set here too. I said, if you want to be a drummer, you go ahead. This is a good stepping stone. So he actually was fun because he's super coordinated, and he's like,
listen, I think he's better coordinated as a bassist, and they should teach Jolene how to play the drums.
Well, here's the thing.
I love this. I was about to ask if Jerry can sing, but no, let's see where this goes.
No, because he quickly settled on the bass because we named the dog Burton. So he's all into Cliff Burton, Jason Newsted. He's all into bass right now. And I'm getting him to listen to songs. I'm like, here, listen to this. And then I picked up my guitar. I showed him some notes. I started playing some chords. I played House of the Rising Sun. I can play that. It's easy. It's like four chords, right? And so I said, okay, so here's A, here's C, here's D, here's E, blah, 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 blah. And so he's playing bass line with just picking up 5 minutes before with me. And so, yeah, he wants to start playing. He took the bass into his cave and plugged it into he just put headphones on and looked on YouTube. I said, there's millions of guides. I'm like, I don't know shit about playing bass. I can play the bass. I don't know anything about it. I just know what I need to do. So he's taken a real liking into that. And Jolene wants to learn how to play guitar, which is really cool. I've showed her some things, but the one behind me, it's a little bit too big for her hands because she's got dainty little hands, and the neck's huge, and she can't even, like, an E minor is even hard for her to do. But it was cool. I sat down here. Me and Coop just sat in this chair. He sat in my drum stool, and we were playing stuff and doing things, and that was cool. And then it actually inspired me to pick up the sticks and sit in the stool and play a little bit. But I can't play for too long because my back starts to hurt.
Was that last Sunday?
Man,
maybe
drumming is a hard. That's a hard discipline. It takes a lot out of you, man.
Because like with me, like the guitar is very hard for me. Like I can play basic stuff, but drums, like even like I don't even know what the hell I'm doing, but I can just play. I just put on a song, I'll play it. It's just I can
carry the beat.
I can just do it. Like I don't know. Like I can't play complicated stuff because I don't play enough, and nor will I ever play enough to play anything super complicated. But I can put on my favorite songs, and I can just play with them, and it's pretty cool.
Okay, you mentioned this, and
cool,
I didn't actually mean to throw this directly in there.
What is this?
But now that it's up, you mentioned learning to play the bass.
Yes, sir.
And I just want to share this with you, see if you guys have heard about
the Geddy Lee documentary.
Except I shared it wrong.
Man.
Just click the volume thing.
Come on,
there you go.
I'm trying to show the world that a bass player can do many things.
Absolutely. That covers all the bases.
I feel like bass playing is so easy.
Don't say that.
Join me, Geddy Lee, singer and bass guitarist of the band Rush.
Hello.
As I travel to the homes of 4 bass legends.
So
and
cool.
dive deep into their lives.
Off we go.
Wow, this is intense.
I'm full of surprises, my friend.
And their inspirations.
Canning is a lot like playing the bass guitar.
After you do a fine bass part, it's in
And
the
that's
can.
Chris Novoselic, for those of you that
Nirvana,
are unable
yeah.
to watch this, from Nirvana.
Melissa Altamara, Hole, Rob Trujillo, Metallica,
That's
Geddy Lee, or not
magic.
Geddy Lee, Let's Play
As I
Pool.
try to answer one really important question. Are bass players human too?
Yes, I believe so.
14 years old, if I could have imagined the day when I'd be helping Geddy Lee off with his coveralls, I would have myself.
Is this what they call good TV?
Geddy Lee asks, are bass players human too? New
Oh my God, I'm
docuseries
getting
streaming December
Paramount
10th,
Plus just for this.
exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Oh, that's awesome.
Paramount Plus.
That is right up my alley, man. And I think
So you mentioned that and learning to play the bass, and it popped into my head because I heard about this a couple weeks ago. And I was like, I gotta talk to the guys about this, but obviously I forgot to throw it in our group chat.
Yeah, that's okay.
But yeah, so I mean that what I'm seeing there for you, and the reason I shared it here is this might be something. Go get the Paramount Plus, sign up for a month, whatever. You can get it through Amazon if you have Prime TV.
Yeah, I could just get it through Apple. It's just
you can get it wherever. I mean, it's you find it. Yep. But I think it might be a really cool little bonding experience for you to watch with the kid, right? Like my kids don't watch shit with me anymore. Like Izzy will sit down. Izzy has decided that, you know what? If Matt's watching another Fincher movie, I'm not even going to ask. I'm like, you watching for the podcast? Okay, I'm in. And that's cool. That's one of the bonding experiences my family had on, especially around Christmas, is we just give each other movies. And we just hammer through movies for 3 days, but I don't have a lot with these kids right now because they're too busy. So yeah, I just thought that might be a cool thing for you guys. And there's actually one more trailer I want to share before we get out of here, but continue with your stuff, Mike. I didn't mean to interrupt. I honestly meant to just leave that.
You're good at derailing my thought process.
Yeah. When you guys put something up, I have to add it. When I add something, it goes directly onto the screen.
Yes.
It's part of the thing that I just brain farted on it. I knew that's how it happened, but it's when you're on the control panel side, it's just like, oh, you want to do this now? I'm like, no, fuck. Okay.
But I told him, I said, hey, look, I said, if this is something you really like doing, this, because that bass over there, I bought off a marketplace for $50 like 5 years ago, and it is hard. It is not easy to play. It is hard to play. So I'm like, if you can wrap your hands around this thing and play this and make it not sound like garbage, and you want bass lessons and you want an instrument that will actually, be easier and nicer to play, I said, we will do this. So you got until you go Christmas holidays, you got until you go back to school. If you play it for a month solid, and we'll get you some lessons, and you're interested and you're in, we'll take care of business. And I said, dude, if you even want to be in a band, every band needs a bass player or a drummer. There's 8 million guitar players out there. No one plays bass, man. So
and drumming is so specific because, and I'm not taking away the coordination of a guitar player. Like, I mean, just watching the video, like my fingers hurt watching that video we played earlier. Like I cracked my knuckles too much as a kid, and like my fingers don't want to behave like
I got
that.
these fucking swollen pieces of shit hands now that all from anyway.
Yeah, but yours are from actually playing guitar.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, I've okay, you cracked your knuckles too, so you have some regrets the same as I do. Like recently, I found that if I'm at the gym trying to get into shape, there's a point where I'm like, I want to do 3 more reps, but this hand is going numb, and I'm gonna lose this. And I might not hurt myself or anybody else, but there's going to be a big bang, and then I'm going to have a whole room of people looking at me like I'm an idiot. So, anyway, but drum playing, you got to have one arm doing one thing, one arm doing another.
Both feet are doing different things too.
And sometimes both feet.
Yep.
Right? Like, I mean, your drum kits are very specific to different shit. So, I mean, you might only need one, and which styles as well. But if you get up there with that double snare, it's like, oh fuck.
Well,
like
even the hi-hat, even working the hi-hat,
where
one hand's doing the hi-hat, but then your what foot is lifting it up and down, and then your right foot's doing the kick drum. So it's all 4 digits doing something different.
So you got rhythm in the sound, but all of your appendages are doing something weird, which is a good thing that it's notorious that it's the bass players that are well hung, because if a drummer had grown a tail, they'd probably be trying to figure out how to play that too. I've seen it done.
So you should show Cooper this if you want to screen share what I'm showing. And
I will.
This is what you can play on a bass. It doesn't necessarily have to just be bass.
Oh jeez.
Look. If you had one shot or one opportunity to seize every bass you ever wanted in one moment, would you tap it or just let it slap?
Oh my god.
How good is that?
Holy shit.
That's fantastic.
Now that's rhythm.
And if you're not, Seb, give us the lowdown on where we can find this guy. I'm not seeing anything on stage.
I will link it in our comments.
Please do.
Yep, I'll repost this one for anybody. You can go to our Facebook page and find the YouTube video for this. That's fantastic. That's a minute 14 seconds of that particular clip, and it is 6 minutes and 29 seconds long. And that's
awesome.
Almost kicked the wrong Sebastian thing out. Cool. So we're a little over 2 hours.
Yeah.
Anything final? Anything else? I got one more thing I want to share. Actually, I got a question for Mike.
Oh,
Mike, 2/3 of this group here are going to an event on May 11th. Would you like to join us?
He will not. I will answer for him right now. He's not coming.
What's on May 11th?
You're not coming.
AEW Wrestling is coming to Rogers Arena. I'm getting tickets on next week to see Collision in Vancouver.
Mike doesn't even know what AEW stands for.
I barely know. I don't even care.
But I know his kid. Junior watches the wrestling. So
no, he doesn't. He's over it. It's over.
Oh, it's over. That's after. I didn't want to. I didn't want to leave you out of the group trip, but I think I got a massive.
This after day 2 of WrestleMania this year, because we watched them both. Day 1 was quite enjoyable, and he's like, day 2, he's like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen, and he hasn't watched wrestling since.
Yeah, that was day
Right?
2's. I will send him some AEW clips. But yeah, no. They announced they were coming to town.
Okay.
I had a as my buddy Desi up north says on his show TDS, the Taryn and Des Show. You can find that on YouTube and Facebook as well. Support them, and the DEC. It was my mark out moment of the week. I lost my mind when I found out they were coming to Vancouver. They didn't
You
have
thought
a
it was a
show
pay-per-view for a second, which
I
Matt
did,
was
because they
super
didn't
excited
have
about it, but
I got so excited because normally when they release these things, there's a logo for the TV shows on there, and there was nothing, and it happens to be right between two of their pay-per-views. They normally do. I mean, they started out with very few a year, about 3 months in between, and this one just landed right between two big shows, and I got super excited. And then about halfway through watching Dynamite that night, they announced it's Collision. I went, fuck. I mean, still, I'm going to AEW. Seb was immediately in. My buddy Larry is in.
Is my favorite current wrestler going to be there?
Christian?
No.
Edge?
No.
Chris
Jericho?
Timeless
Who's your favorite
Tony
current
Storm?
Wrestler? Who?
Timeless Tony Storm.
I hope so. I like Tony.
She is amazing, man.
Chin up, tits out, and watch for the shoes.
She's basically taken the MJF formula and ran with it. For sure.
And she's doing for those of you that aren't watching, and for Mike specifically, she's doing like a 20s diva movie star gimmick, and
she's awesome in interviews, man.
It's fantastic. They shoot her in black and white when she's doing backstage stuff, it's fantastic. And
she's hilarious too.
She has one of the best deathmatch wrestlers in the world, Dr. Luther, in a tuxedo. He's a very nice dude. I've talked to him on a couple of the cruise ships. Very nice, very quiet spoken guy. It's not, you would be shocked to find out that he was a deathmatch wrestler doing like a butler gimmick too. He's like in the white shirt in the tuxedo with the white jacket, and just doing the whole thing. It's absolutely fantastic. I hope Tony Storm is there. I hope Tony Schiavone's there. Also, it's when we saw it in Seattle last October, there is also a taping for Ring of Honor afterwards, so it's not going to be a quick night. Other than that, so Mike's out. I just wanted to get it on record. I didn't want to not.
Well, you wanted to ask him. It makes sense.
I appreciate you asking. I really do, but it's not my thing.
Yeah, I know. I'm currently on deck for buying 5 tickets. As soon, hopefully, my pre-sale code comes through, and we'll sort that out Wednesday.
It's gonna be a great night for you, man. I'm happy.
I'm excited. I honestly didn't think they would come to Vancouver, and especially with the Collision show. So I'm excited. I think it would look better if they had booked one of the smaller arenas in Langley or Abbotsford, even the Pack Coliseum. But let's see how old Rogers Arena does with this. Let's go downtown on a Saturday and have a ball.
But yeah,
it's cool.
In May, so hopefully it's good weather. But I figured if I can get Mike in on a 6 ticket, I'd get Mike in on a 6 ticket.
No, I'm sure it'll be fun, but it's just not my thing.
I know it's not your thing, but you know what? It's the last outing as a trio was super fun, especially watching you and Cooper just mercilessly bust Sebastian's balls.
And he still says the worst part of the night was "Can I Play with Madness?" So he's sticking.
I don't think there's much influence from the father there, is there? Possibly.
Not at all. Actually, honestly, there isn't.
Is it? This is an interesting question. Is it nature or nurture? Like, is it just they're on the same page because that's the way it is, or is it influence? That's a good question.
Well, no. With that album specifically, he found. I told him I love Seventh Son, blah blah blah, but he quickly glommed on to The Evil That Men Do, and there's a couple and Infinite Dreams and stuff, and he just flat out said, he's like, "Can I Play with Madness? Sucks." And I'm like, "Yes, it does."
Oh my god, I'm done. I'm done.
But speaking of Iron Maiden, I do have one more thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bruce Dickinson solo record coming out in
I saw that. Yeah.
April. New song is out now. The Afterglow of Ragnarok. It's in my ears right now. I've listened to it about 28,000 times. Cooper hates it because it's not Iron Maiden. It's tuned down. It's heavy as fuck, and
he's definitely different. Like
his solo stuff is way more aggressive, and this was recorded. I think Book of Souls era, because his vocals are really It's not what he is now, but
it's also
taken
his
13
solo
years.
stuff is also reaching more of like a mythological stretch than
absolutely.
Iron Maiden does.
Yes,
So Iron
absolutely.
Maiden deals with like, works of art and historical things like Alexander the Great, and I mean Bruce Dickinson's new song is Afterglow of the Ragnarok.
A
So
Ragnarok.
like that's like
And you can tell when Bruce has had a hand in some of those songs
Yeah.
because they do
They're
get
epic.
into it.
Yeah.
I saw that announcement the other day. I was doom scrolling. I was at work and I was doom scrolling because I was in one of those positions where I can't walk away from what I'm doing, but all I'm doing is letting a process take place. But if I walk away and something bad happens, something really bad happens.
Yeah.
So you just doom scroll and you sit next to a valve waiting to shut it off just in case. I saw that. I meant to download it on Spotify, but life.
Well, whatever. Album's out March 1st, but it's an
out.
interesting because all of Iron Maiden stuff is like, it's all standard for musicians. It's standard tuning. It's all we're all set in the key of E for the most part. This song is drop C. Like it's so to hear
it's low.
Yeah, his high pitched voice with the low of the guitar and bass is a really neat sort of cross in how he just makes it sound seamless. Yeah, the song's really it's like Euro like folk metal in some parts.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
It's cool.
That's solid. So I have a small list of things I got a small list of things that I got to post, including Matt doing the hockey from Saturday Night Live.
That's honestly one of my favorite Saturday Night Live bits ever.
The bass lick that Seb shared us, and I will also attempt to share this.
And don't listen to the new Guns N' Roses song if you don't want to save 5 minutes of your life.
It's terrible.
It is beyond
terrible.
Bad. Like the shit that I write's better than this. It's
terrible.
So bad.
Well, no, your shit's not terrible, but
well, it's not that good either. But it's better than this shit. It is
except for our oopening themes, which were awesome and amazing.
But no, the new GNR. Oh my god, Seb texted me yesterday, and I'm like, I can't even make it through the song.
It's so bad.
All right, so I won't post that one, but I also look forward to not listening to it.
Or if you
Seb,
really want,
finally, you want to share with us? I have one thing I want to share, Seb. I think
I'm good.
I think I want you to experience this with me as well, which sounds creepy. But do you have anything upcoming? Any upcoming highlights you want to share with us, or anything like that? Anything you're looking forward to? Anything we should watch while we're, taking a chill pill between now and Christmas?
Me personally,
yeah. I mean, Mike
I'll get back to you. Let me think about it for a second.
So now. This is the new movie from A24. This is the studio that brought us Everything Everywhere All at Once. It is not what you think it is. I have heard a review for this movie. One, the actor that plays Fritz does such a good job. People that knew Fritz thought it was Fritz. They're like, nope, he got this tone of voice, his cadence in speaking, his mannerisms, his quirks, his tics. You would think it's Fritz.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Who the fuck is Fritz?
You'll see it in a second.
Okay, thank you.
I'll explain it to you.
Okay.
This caused a ruckus online over the summer when pictures of a jacked to the tits Zac Efron hit. So I will share this with you now. This is not,
but that's okay.
This is not a film about their occupation. It's a film about the family that happens to do this occupation.
Oh, I know what this is.
I was a child. People said my family was cursed.
Jesus.
Mom tried to
me again.
God. Pop tried to protect us with wrestling. He said if we were the toughest, the strongest, nothing had ever hurt us. I believed him. We all did.
Morning.
Pants tomorrow, please, David.
Terry, I want you to join your brothers in the ring. Yes, sir. I love that. Woo! Now, we all know Carrie's my favorite, then Kev, then David, then Mike. But the rankings can always change.
What do you
I
like?
actually do that with my kids. I have power
More
rankings.
ribs.
Oh my god.
With my family.
That's not
You know,
going to
be
give
with
him
my
a complex or anything.
What do you like to do with your brothers?
Getty Lee for you.
We can do anything.
We're here to restore justice to the Wrestling Federation that our father built with his own two hands. The hands that were passed down to us. The hands that will deliver the Iron Claw to you. So what do you think? We're alive.
I love your family, Kevin.
Are we uncle?
Yes, sir. Oh, man, that makes me so happy. I'll talk to you about something, Mom. Dad's too tough on us. You gotta say something.
Baby, that's what your brothers are for.
Feel that? You feel that? That's pressure.
You're pushing too hard.
I'm fine, Kev. Seriously, I'm just sick.
I'm scared, man. It all out of control.
Terrible accident.
I should have stopped him. I need to think about my family.
Your job is to wrestle. Live up to that deal, or we are through.
I told you to look out for him!
I just love being out there with you guys.
This is the extended trailer. I
The
haven't
only
seen
thing
this
that
one.
matters to me.
The Bonner will forever be the greatest family in the history of wrestling.
Wow.
Yeah, that's going to be so good. That's on Netflix, right?
No, that's in theaters.
Theaters? Nice.
That's in theaters. I'll be going to see that. Yeah. So, what's his name? Holt McCallany did an amazing job as Fritz. I've heard this from Bruce Pritchard, who knew Fritz. That's fantastic. You get to see, guys playing Ric Flair and Bruiser Brody in there as well. Chavo Guerrero plays the Sheik, who is the uncle of Sabu from ECW. Also, super cool dude. Chavo also did the wrestling sequence in that. That's what he does now, is he lends his talents to stunt work in Hollywood. You also see Ryan Nemeth, brother of Dolph Ziggler, Cruise veteran, also very funny dude. Met him, had a couple of good conversations with him late night, hammered on that boat. Really cool dude is Gino Hernandez, who's a tragic story, and MJF himself as a kayfabe, Lance Von Erich, a kayfabe member of the family. Like, don't fool yourself out there. If you've watched this trailer, or you just sat through it, or you're Mike, this is not a movie about wrestling. This is a movie about a family
fucked up
that
family.
happens to be in the wrestling business.
Yeah. It's tragic what happened to that family too. If anyone doesn't know, I'll let you guys dig into that if you want later.
You know what? If
I don't know,
this
so don't
point-
tell me. I want to watch the movie.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. If at this point you don't know the story of the Von Erichs, don't go to the theater and watch this. I'm going to recommend you make it a date night. Don't bring young kids. You want, I mean, maybe Mike's son. I don't think his daughter would probably be that as into it, but she might be, because Jolene's pretty rad. I wouldn't bring young kids thinking it's not a story about Rudy. It's not a story about, build it and he will come.
Nope.
It's just, this family story is unfathomable, and it just happens to be that they were in the wrestling business. And from everything I've heard, not all of it is dead accurate, but the portrayal done by the actors of the characters are really dead on, even though some of it's a little fictionalized. Zac Efron, as you can see in that, jacked to the tits. Jeremy Allen White, you know him from Shameless and The Bear. Also, good series. Just finished watching that. Jacked to the tits. Like, I'm really excited about this. I thought this, straight to video, Netflix, Prime, Tubi, something like that. No, this is getting
in theaters, baby.
It's going to theaters. This is going to be like The Wrestler, where people are like, "Oh, it's a wrestling movie." It's like, "Oh no, it's not. This is a story about this guy that happens to do that job."
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay,
Seth,
so
I would love to make another outing with you to
Sure.
see that. It's out near the end of the
When's
month.
it come out?
Near the end of the month.
Sure,
Yeah.
I'll If it's on a Wednesday night, that would be good, or a Wednesday morning, or a Sunday night. It works as well. Sunday, Monday
Yeah, we could probably
nights.
do something with. We could probably work out something with a Sunday because I have an early bedtime. Oh,
So-
actually, you know what? I think I'm off the one of the weeks it's out. So yeah, we might be able to pull off a Wednesday.
So I sent you guys the trailer for the new Mad Max Furiosa.
Yes.
It's coming out allegedly May 24th. It's got Anya Taylor-Joy playing a young Furiosa. I guess it's the story of her story.
That was for those unfamiliar. That was in the last Mad Max. That was played by Charlize Theron.
Yeah, and then Chris Hemsworth plays like the main villain guy, Dementius, which you see him and you don't even realize it's Chris Hemsworth until you notice. There's another guy that's in it that you may know, Matt. Someone by the name of Nathan Jones.
Yes, big jacked up. He had a small stint in professional wrestling in 2003. He was the Undertaker's tag team partner for WrestleMania 19. Giant dude, a giant man.
Yeah,
he's one of those human beings that you're like, this doesn't exist. Somebody drew this. It's like, no, man, that's in 3D right in front of you.
For those of you that aren't familiar with who Nathan Jones is, just think of the beginning of Troy when Brad Pitt fights the one guy in the battle between the two champions, and he basically takes him out in 3.5 seconds.
And that is Nathan Jones.
Yeah, that's Nathan Jones.
Yeah, he appears in smaller movie roles as he's the. You think of big guys. You say a big guy wrestler. You think of like an Andre the Giant, like an Undertaker and a Kane, who are they're big and they're muscular, but they're not ripped. Nathan Jones looks like you took a 195-pound dude that's jacked to the tits, with no body fat whatsoever, and you enlarged him in a video game and made him 7 feet tall.
Nice.
He's 2.11 meters, which is what, 7 feet, something like that.
Yep. Oh, I think it's pretty damn close to a legit 7 foot.
343 pounds with a 6-pack.
No big deal.
Yeah, no big deal.
Just to put that into perspective,
he makes
343 pounds with a 6-pack.
Think of Brock Lesnar and then add a third.
Dude, he's huge, man.
He's
so
an absolute.
big.
They used to call him the Colossus of Bogger Road, and I've seen this guy once live from a distance, and I'm like, that is a big dude. He is one of those human beings that should not exist, and it's the reason he didn't work out in wrestling. He hated the travel because he was too big for it.
Yeah.
So he's just like, no, I can't do this. I can't ride in these cars. I can't fly in these planes. I'm just done. And he's been acting. He's got small bits here and there. He pops up every once in a while. And
they need a monstrous giant
Troy
that overpowers the main guy.
Say. Yeah. What's that?
If they need a monstrous giant that looks like they're going to overpower the main protagonist, you bring in Nathan Jones.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a small list of guys that'll do that. You're looking at Nathan Jones. You're looking at Robert Malay, also a former professional wrestler. Yeah. And that's these. And to just bring it into our topic today, when you think of grown ass man, that's kind of the image in your head, but bigger. Just a fucking big, beefy dude. Absolutely fantastic. Well, boys, we're 2.5 hours. We did real long, but you know what? For going on a mini hiatus for the holidays, I think that's pretty good. Thank everybody for sticking with us. I've been watching our numbers sort of rise and fall. So for the few of you that have stuck end to end with us, thank you very much. We will see you probably in the new year, but you know what? We'll play it by ear. We'll see what happens in that week in between, because
I think there could be some time in between.
Yeah, I'm off for that week, so yeah. All right, gentlemen, continue being good men. I honestly mean that. You guys are you're grown ass men. You do what you need to do. We all have different trails along the same main path. We're not just giant pieces of shit that don't pay our child support and don't deserve to have the awesome children they do. Right. A specific shot at you. Anyways, he won't hear it, so I won't name his name.
Oh, please don't.
anybody listening to this that used to hang out with us at the Walnut Grove pub knows exactly what this Eminem wannabe is. So yeah, you guys, you're good, man. I'm happy to be doing this with you. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
That's all we got.
That's all you got.
That's all I got.
Watch the Laszlo Holmes thing. It's hilarious. Anyways.
Okay, we'll watch the Laszlo Holmes thing. I will be I'll be posting some stuff here, there, and yon. But for now, let's go enjoy our day.
Good
afternoon.
And how do?